Welcome back to this channel. This is Trendy Storm and you are watching What If Naruto Was Raised by Baron Iron Blood. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to this channel. Not wasting no more time, let's start the story.
Naruto was in the woods around Konoha at the age of 4. He thought, food. I need food. Why did they have to kick me out of the orphanage? Where will I go? As his stomach rumbled as he made his way through the woods. After searching for 20 more minutes, Naruto came across a cherry tree with cherries on it that was suspended over a river. As he attempted to reach the cherries, he noticed the berries and thought, I recognize those from the market. He eventually managed to scale the cherry tree and started consuming as many of the fruits as he could. When Naruto noticed more cherries on the tip of one of the branches, he started to crawl out to them because he was still hungry. After almost eating all of them, however, he slipped off and fell into the river below. As the river started to pull him downstream, Naruto briefly surfaced and cried out, "Help, I can't swim." When Naruto was being pulled down, he hit his head on something and blacked out, but he was unable to return to the surface of the water. He was in a completely dark place when he woke up. Gasping for air, he got out of the water, felt the water all around him, and said, "Hello, someone help." He started to feel around after hearing his own echo. In an attempt to find a way out, he even struck a stone, and as he ran his hands over it, he thought, "Feels like bricks." Naruto followed the wall down a long tunnel and then felt a room where he couldn't see anything until he reached a point where the walls lit up and he realized he was in a room with various machines he didn't recognize. On a wall, a huge projection of a man wearing a blue and black outfit with a red cobra design on his shirt and a metal mask over his face, and the figure said, "So it would seem someone discovered my lab, and since you're not dead yet from this place exploding means that I have not sent the reset command once a month to reset the traps, then I must be dead. If so, then that means that my dreams and ambition have been destroyed. But there's an old saying, never underestimate a snake because even in death its venom can kill you. If you were my enemy, then you would have already destroyed this place, but since it still stands means that you either came looking for this place or stumbled upon it. In either case, that makes you my heir. My legacy I turn over to you, all my years of hard work and discovery to do with as you see fit, and I make a humble request. Do what I was unable to do, make the name of the Cobra a name that is feared around the world. Take over the world and rule it with an iron fist, make those who ridiculed me and look down on me see the error of their ways. My name is Cobra Commander, and if you so chose to complete my final request, place both your arms in the two holes in the wall where the picture of the Cobra is painted, and I will give you a gift even in death that will aid you in completing our shared goal." As the screen went blank but the room stayed lighted up. "He's just like me. People always looking down on me and being mean to me. He wants me to be his heir like his son dad," Naruto thought as he gazed at the screen. After glancing at the screen, Naruto said, "If you want me for a son, I'll complete your dream, father." He then proceeded to the painted cobra on the wall and inserted both of his arms where the fangs appeared to be ready to bite. Naruto felt something stab him in the arms and screamed before going unconscious. Nanite injections. Wait, how do I know that I see? Cleaver, you downloaded your knowledge into the nanites that enter into the bloodstream and go to the brain where they connect to the brain and implant your knowledge. I'll make you proud, father," he thought as he stood up and started to look around the lab before he looked for a way out. After waking up and discovering that he had fallen to the ground, he then noticed what appeared to be a cobra in a circle on each arm. When Naruto reached the end of a tunnel, he noticed a switch on the wall and pressed it. The ground outside started to rise, so Naruto went outside and looked around, thinking, "No way, I've been here before. This is the top of the Hokage monument. I remember now. I need something from the lab." He turned and ran back down into the lab, where he started looking through the drawers until he found a small black tube, and he thought, "Great, I'll have to find batteries somewhere." He tried the device, but it didn't work. After that, Naruto returned to the entrance, pulled the handle once more, and hurried out before the door shut. As Naruto noticed that the ground was entirely unmarked in places where it was impossible to tell it was there, he thought, "Yes, this will be the beginning of the return of the Cobra." 5 years later, time has passed. Naruto, who is now 5 feet 2, has been dressed in a blue shirt and black pants for the past 5 years. He finished last in his class at the academy and was the second tallest boy. Since so few people saw Naruto outside of the academy, he didn't seem to be much of anything overall. The Sandame, who had gotten him an apartment when he discovered Naruto on the streets, thought that Naruto had a semi-normal life because he had never caused any trouble and, aside from barely passing all of his classes, there was nothing that seemed particularly noteworthy about him. Of course, there's the adage, looking beneath the surface, but who really does that? After his family was massacred, Sasuke Uchiha woke up, turned off his alarm clock, and sat on the side of his bed. He blinked and thought, "I smell bacon and eggs." He got up and went into the kitchen, where he saw Naruto eating eggs and bacon with some orange juice at his table. With a second setting at the table for Sasuke, he exclaimed, "What the hell are you doing in my apartment, Dobi?" Naruto raised his eyebrows and replied, Have you ever heard the saying, looks can be deceiving, Sasuke? I only do the bare minimum to pass each of our classes to hide my real skills. I am far from actually being a Dobi, and I'm here to prove it to you by giving you exactly what you want, power." As he approached the door, Sasuke blinked and said, "Yeah right, now get out." Naruto laughs and replies, "Do you honestly think this village is going to risk the Sharingan to let you get your revenge on your brother? They're going to keep you as weak as possible to make sure that they can control you so you can breed all those lil Sharingan babies and keep you and all information about your brother hidden from you." Sasuke turned slowly to face Naruto, froze, and said, "What are you saying?" Naruto replied, "I'm saying, haven't you noticed how they never try and stop the fangirls from harassing you? How there has never been 100 nin sent after your brother, or how you have not heard a single rumor about him in the 2 years since the massacre? They have an entire team of counter-intelligence working around you to keep you from finding out your brother killed a noble in grass country 6 months ago, and I bet you never even heard about it. Civilians in other towns have heard it, but not the ones in Konoha. Hell, 2 of your neighbors are actually Anbu sent to keep an eye on you and to make sure the council and the Hokage keep the wool pulled over your eyes, while sipping his juice." With a frown, Sasuke asked, "Do you have any proof?" Pulling a bingo book from his weapon pouch, Naruto declared, "Page 34. That is the bingo book from Suna Konoha ally." When Sasuke opened the book and saw that his brother had murdered 2 nobles and 600 nins from other nations, his eyes widened. As Naruto put it, "Shocking, isn't it?" With a neutral tone, Sasuke asked Naruto, "Why are you here?" Naruto replied, "I have a proposition for you. I can give you the power you seek to get revenge on the one responsible for your clan's massacre, but in exchange I want you to join me." According to Sasuke, "I don't swing that way," Naruto replied. "Really? Well, I'm sure your fangirls will be happy to hear that, but I wasn't talking about your sexuality. I was talking about joining my army. You see, I am recreating an army that was once ruled by my adopted father, and I plan to succeed where he failed and take over the world." Snorting, Sasuke replied, "Yeah right." Naruto laughed and raised a hand with a needle in it. He said, "Do you see this, Sasuke? This is but a sample of what my father created. In this is power. There are hundreds of tiny little machines called nanites in this that I programmed. They were programmed for you. If you join me, I will give you this, and the nanites will make you stronger, smarter, faster, make you immune to poison, make you 60% more resistant to pain where you could receive a sword to the stomach and it will feel like a scratch. They can also help increase your healing and heal the wound I mentioned to the stomach in less than 2 minutes. Interested?" Sasuke looked at the needle in Naruto's hand and Naruto said, "But this doesn't come without a price. There is always a price for power. If you accept my offer, then you will be a member of my army for life. You will still have your free will, but if you ever betray me, I can activate the nanites to kill you from anywhere in the world at any moment. You attempt to attack me or kill me in any way will cause the nanites to either torture or kill you, as they can read your thoughts. Also, if I give you a direct order, you will have to carry it out or feel pain. So it comes down to a choice. You can either join me as one of my generals, where you will get the power to avenge your clan and help rule the world once I succeed, or you can try to go to the Hokage or Anbu and they will arrest me, where I will escape because I have my Cobra commandos all over this village, and they can keep making your life hell by trying to turn you into breeding stock while your brother sits back and laughs at you from the shadows the rest of your life. It's your choice. If you agree, inject this in your arm and you will feel pain for about 30 minutes while the nanites link up with your body, or if you refuse, this needle will destroy itself in 1 hour. Well, I'm done. Thanks for the breakfast." As he stood up and started toward the door and stopped at the door and said, "By the way, I heard something that might be of interest to you. I don't know if it's true, but I can find out if it is, though I would have to have a reason to find out. It seems your brother was working for someone else and he was actually hired to kill your clan. If what I heard is true, then not only did he do it to test himself, but also got rich doing it," as he walked out the door. After running to the door and searching for Naruto, Sasuke scowled when he was unable to locate him. He then returned to his apartment, where he stared at the needle and asked himself, "Am I willing to become a slave in order to kill my brother?" Iruka looked at Sasuke and said, "Are you alright, Sasuke? You don't look so well." Naruto was seated in the back of the class, and the lesson had already begun when Sasuke arrived looking pale. As he walked up to the back of the class and sat down next to Naruto, who appeared perplexed, Sasuke said, "I feel like my insides are on fire, my head is pounding, and I feel like my fangirls raped me. Other than that, I feel great actually." Naruto turned his head and gave Sasuke a wink that only Sasuke could see. As the final 2 students to leave the classroom at lunch, Naruto thought, "Do you hear me, Sasuke?" The eyes of Sasuke widened and Naruto thought, "Don't speak out loud." When I am within 100 feet of you I can hear your thoughts by sending chakra to a certain place on my body which activates the nanites there which is one connected to your set. It's also how I can kill you should you ever betray me. Now for appearances we can't seem to friendly. I'm the class Dobie and you're the top student in class 1. Have discovered the rookie of the year and the dead last are always on the same team together with the top kunoichi in class. As you can guess then I can just coast by and make sure you and I are on the same team when we graduate while you hold the rookie of the year position. Sasuke asked himself, so does this go both ways? Naruto considered, yes, now I will keep my promise and help you to get revenge for your family, but right now you are not strong enough. Your brother was already a chunin by our age and you're being held back. I know how to help catch up though, but it will take about 3 to 5 years for you to get at the same level he was when he killed your clan. If you follow my orders that may seem like a long time, but it's not when you consider that this village wasn't even going to let you ever get the chance. So I am your best bet. Sasuke looks at Naruto and says, good, now in order to gain the power you need we are going to have to be real ninja and also build up the power of my empire. To do this we need 2 of your fangirls' help. Sasuke's eyes widened, and he thought, WHAT? Sasuke's head began pounding and Naruto thought, never scream at me again like that. What you are feeling now is only a small sample of what I could do to you. Now listen closely and I will explain who the 2 are and why we need them. First is Sakura. Yes, I know she is annoying to you and I can't tell you how many times I secretly laughed at the tics on your face from hers and Ino fighting over you, but Sakura is the smartest girl in our class. She has perfect chakra control and basically a photographic memory, meaning unless she drops out she will be on our genin team when we graduate from this academy. By doing something now to control and shape her then we can ensure that our team is the strongest there is. Now there is another point I should make. While I am skilled and you will be also, neither of us will have the chakra control to be a medic or the time to study and learn all the things that a medic needs. I plan to make Sakura my main medical ninja in my Cobra. While she will be ranked higher than my Cobra commandos she will not be one of my generals like you will be. There is more I will explain about her purpose as we get older, but for now that is all you need to know about her unless you want a useless fangirl on our team when we get out of this hellhole they call an academy. Why can't we just leave it now? Sasuke asked himself. Sasuke looked at Naruto as if he were, you fucking idiot, use that damn brain of yours. If the village is going to limit how strong you become, don't you think that if you dropped out that they would lock you up or immediately begin the clan restoration act? As for me, look at who exactly is in our class, the future heirs to all the clans of Konoha. By either observing them or bringing them to my side, I can either use them or plan to counter them should they become my enemies. You really are smarter than you pretended to be, Sasuke thought. And a lot stronger as well, Naruto thought. Now, let me tell you who the second fangirl is. Ironically, it's Ino. I'm glad you waited to hear why. Because I need a member of her clan on my side. Having someone who can take over an enemy body and use it to carry out my orders would be very valuable to me in taking over the world. She is also the key to getting control of the village council and half of Konoha Black Ops and converting them into Cobra members. Sasuke asked himself, how? The Nidame Hokage had 2 options to be the Sandame Hokage, Naruto thought. Sarutobi is one of them, and Danzo is another. They are both competitors. Danzo established his own Black Ops unit, Root, while Sarutobi established what is now known as Anbu. Perhaps only 1 or 2 people genuinely know who is a member of Root, but the Sandame, many of the villagers, and Ninja are aware of who is a member of Anbu. Danzo is the key to getting them in order to gain complete control over Danzo. I intend to have Ino take over and use my nanites. This will allow him to not only begin turning over his Root operatives to me to become Cobra commandos, but also grant me access to the council so I can spy on them and the Hokage and dictate certain items I will require in the future. Upon realizing the full scope of Naruto's plans, Sasuke's eyes widened and he thought, and once you have Root you will have an entire army under your control. This is all you need to know for now. I can see you are realizing that I have a very good chance of actually succeeding. Sasuke heard laughter in his head, and Naruto thought, you are thinking too small, Sasuke. Once I have Root taken over I will have my Cobra commandos to begin tracking down and capturing bandits and missing nins that I will also turn into Cobra commandos. Sasuke said, I admit I thought you were crazy at first, but now I think you can actually pull it off. Naruto was thinking, indeed. Now while I have helped you get a little stronger you have a long way to go and I am sure you are wanting to know what it is I need of you, right? Sasuke looks at Naruto and says, now your primary position for now is my enforcer and bodyguard. You will carry out my orders and be able to control the commandos, but you will be responsible for my safety, so if I am ever captured you will have to free me if I can't free myself, and if my identity is ever discovered and become a threat then you are to eliminate the threat to me. If I order you to kill someone then you are to kill them. Do you understand? Yes, Sasuke thought. Naruto was thinking. In public while I am like this you will call me Naruto, but if I am in my disguise or talking in your head you will either refer to me as Cobra Commander or Commander. Do I make myself clear? You are not my equal. Remember that you serve me. This is the price you will have to pay to kill your brother, and do not think that once you have succeeded in that you can betray me, because my nanites will kill you before you can. In his mind, Sasuke said, "Yes, Commander." Naruto was thinking, "Good. Now I want you to approach Sakura and Ino and ask them for their help. Tell them Saturday that you are cleaning out some of the old things at your clan compound and would like their help. They will of course jump at the chance to try and impress you, and once they're there I will be there as well. I will explain my plan then to you, but act like you are really wanting to either seal away the cloths or clean up the buildings until you get my orders. Do you understand?" In his mind, Sasuke said, "Yes, Commander." "Do you like either of them or have any feelings for either of them now, or think you might later?" was Naruto's thought at the time. After giving Naruto a quick glance, Sasuke said, "No, I can't stand either of them." "Why?" Naruto was thinking. "I will explain this weekend. Tomorrow you will go back to your normal seat because we can't let people know that you and I are connected, or it will draw too much attention to ourselves. Also you should get some cloths that will hide your identity and a weapon. Some kind of sword or something close range as my enforcer. Your name to keep your real identity a secret shall be Arashi Cage, or Cage for short. When in your disguise that will be the name I will refer to you as. That way it will draw the attention from us," Sasuke thought. Naruto looks at him and says, "Well, that boring lesson's over and it's lunchtime. When we come back take your normal seat and remember my orders." After nodding, Sasuke got up and fled, hoping to stay away from his fangirls for the time being. Naruto thought, "I've taken my first true stepfather." Upon observing Sasuke, Sakura, and Ino entering the Uchiha district on Saturday, Naruto thought, "Good Sasuke. I am about to come out and you were to act like you invited me to help as well. If either girl asks why, tell them I was cheap. After that we will do the cleanup for about an hour and you will ask Sakura to go and get us some food and drinks and give her some money to get it, and then," as he went on to outline the remainder of his strategy. Says Sasuke, "Yes, Commander." After giving a nod, Naruto said, "It's about time you got here. Teme, I've been waiting for almost an hour." Ino and Sakura appeared shocked, and Sakura remarked, "Don't talk to Sasuke-kun like that." Before you winced in pain, and Naruto thought, "Watch those useless remarks, Cage." Sasuke said, "It's alright Sakura, he's just here to be a grunt since he's cheap labor and nothing more." It was time to begin cleaning up. Sasuke felt the pain subside as he entered one of the residences and said, "Alright, what we are going to do is gather everything in this house and move it to one across the street. Then we will come back and clean all the dust and dirt out of this one and then do the same to the next 3. Once we do that we will use the 4 that we cleaned as storage places for either furniture, cloths, dishes, or other items. That way once we finish all the houses it will be easy to go through and get rid of the things I don't or won't ever need. Do you all understand?" They started working after being informed that everyone understood, and an hour later, Sasuke wiped some perspiration from his brow and said, "Hey Sakura, could you please do me a favor?" "Sure Sasuke-kun, anything," Sakura said. Sasuke replied, "I think we could all use some food and drinks. Could you take this and get some for all 4 of us? Get it from that restaurant on the far side of the village because it's got my favorite dishes." As Sakura put it, "Sure Sasuke-kun, does it matter what?" Sakura hurried away after saying, "I'll be back as quick as I can." Sasuke shook his head no. With both blondes following him, Sasuke said, "Damn, I just remember something. Both of you come with me." After she had left, Ino questioned, "So what are we doing here?" As they soon entered a warehouse and Sasuke led them down a flight of stairs to a basement level. Before he grabbed her and quickly covered her mouth, Sasuke said, "Oh yeah, well this is where you join us." Naruto then stepped forward and stabbed Ino in the arm, causing her to scream for a few moments before she passed out. Sasuke observed this and Naruto responded, "Release her and go wait on Sakura. Tell her you sent me and Ino to take care of something else and distract her, but don't eat my food. World domination makes you hungry." Naruto, who had Ino's unconscious form, placed her on a stack of boxes and waited for her to awaken while Sasuke laughed and hurried off. Upon awakening, Ino inquired, "What happened?" Ino turned and backed up in terror when Naruto said, "Genjutsu." Naruto looked perplexed and inquired, "What's wrong, Ino?" As Ino put it, "You and Sasuke-kun attacked me." "No, we didn't," said Naruto. "You passed out after falling into a security trap that put you in Genjutsu." "Really?" Ino said uncertainly, rubbing her head. "Yes," said Naruto. "Fortunately, I managed to catch you before you hit your head." After flushing, Ino said, "Oh thanks Naruto." As Ino looked around in an attempt to clear her mind, Naruto waved his hand dismissively and said, "Ino, may I ask you a question? Why are you such a fan of Sasuke?" Well, truthfully, Ino said, seemingly doubting herself at the moment. I've been told by some people that are friends of my family that they were going to arrange for me to be with him even though I don't want to, Ino said, looking down as Naruto nodded. Naruto was thinking, perfect, the nanites are working perfect, and he replied, do you hate that you're being forced basically into a sex slave and breeding stock? After Ino nodded and looked down, Naruto approached and remarked, you know I don't see you like that. You seem like a really lovely young woman who will mature into a stunning adult. Ino began to blush and Naruto replied, what if there was a way to not be forced to love someone? What if someone offered you a chance to choose your own love life? Would you do it even if it went against your friends and family's wishes? Ino licked her lips and replied, I guess I hate remembering their words to me, even now I can hear them in my head and I don't like it. In response, Naruto said, I could help you. With a look of surprise and a hint of hope in her eyes, Ino looked up and asked, how? I don't like the way things are, Naruto remarked. I mean, the way the world is set up, teaching kids to be nothing more than killers and sex slaves, is wrong, so I want to change it. Would you be willing to help me do that? After giving it some thought, Ino remarked, I would like to, but what could I do? With a smile, Naruto leaned forward to give Ino a cheek kiss. When Ino flushed, Naruto said, then here, while holding up a tiny pill. Then Ino said, what is that? It's something unique that I made. Naruto remarked, it is to support those who are assisting me in becoming stronger. I give you the opportunity to join Cobra. If you truly want to help me change the world to become a member of my army, you simply need to take this medication. After struggling with herself for a few moments as her will began to fail, Ino finally took the pill and swallowed it. She briefly experienced headache pain, blinked, and exclaimed, whoa, what was that, Naruto? As Naruto put it, a memory pill. Do you understand now? Yes, Ino said after giving it some thought, the nanites will heal me, rid me of poisons, and make me stronger, faster, smarter, and more pain tolerant. What will you have me do? It's a gift for people who join Cobra to help change the world. For the time being, Ino, I believe you should go home and ask your family for advice on how to train, build strength, and learn how to use your family jutsu, Naruto said. In 2 months, come back here and show me your strength and abilities. Sasuke fangirls are a pain in the ass for him on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Before you leave for training or your daily tasks, I want you to start following him 3/4 of the way home. I want you to stop any fangirls who follow him after the halfway point, but don't kill or seriously harm them. Additionally, don't mention Cobra, me, or the fact that I asked you to assist Sasuke with his fangirl issues. In this manner, you can fool those who wish to use you as a sex slave into thinking you are doing as they say. By doing this, I'll help you become stronger and learn to value yourself as a woman and not a sexual object. Additionally, I'll speak with Sasuke, who will allow you to sit on one side of him. I'll also speak with Sakura, who, if she truly likes him, can sit on the other side of him. If she agrees with you, I'll try to persuade her to join Cobra as well. As she stood up and gave him a cheek kiss, Ino grinned and said, thank you, Naruto-kun. No problem, said Naruto, but be careful not to tell anyone, including Sakura, about my assistance to you or anything else. I'd rather not be killed for assisting you. Don't worry, I won't, Ino said. CYA, she said as she walked away. Naruto laughed when she left and believed slight memory modifications into making her believe that her family and friends either when drunk or not told her she's nothing but a weakling who needs to marry to make their clan better, and making her believe she can trust me and admires me for saving her from hitting her head and trying to save her from becoming breeding stock and instant loyalty. Now for Sakura. When Sakura and Sasuke were back together, Naruto said, hey Sasuke, Ino wanted me to tell you she's sorry she had to leave, but she had to go back home for something related to her clan. I think she was lying though. Sakura was attempting to impress Sasuke. Sakura questioned, what makes you say that? Naruto replied, well, you may not know this, but I have heightened senses, sight, smell, taste, touch, and hearing, and well, I smelled blood, so I think she cut herself and didn't want to be seen as weak in front of Sasuke while she went home to get it taken care of. We really should get hazard pay with all the potential danger we are in from some of these old buildings. Teme. Sasuke threw a bag to Naruto, who pulled out a stick of dango and started eating it, saying, just shut up and eat Dobi. Sakura was thinking, I wonder did Ino start? Oh well, it gives me more of a chance to be with Sasuke-kun. Hey Sakura, may I speak to you as an adult? Said Naruto. What do you mean? We're only 9 years old, Sakura blinked. Naruto continued, you know how they say once you become a genin you are considered an adult, and I read about several people here in Konoha who became genin at a younger age than us, including Sasuke brother, so that means if they were considered an adult, you and I should be able to have an adult conversation where we don't go off crying or screaming or fighting each other but sit down and discuss things rationally. Maybe it will be a good chance to show your crush how mature you are, while eating his meal. Sakura said, "Sure, what do you want to talk about?" as her eyes brightened. Naruto stated, "I want to talk about the fact I'm tired of seeing people pick on you because of your hair or your forehead. I think both suit you perfectly and you should be proud of them, not ashamed, and take shit off of people for them." In response to Sakura biting her lip, Sasuke said, "I agree. That is why Sasuke and I got talking, and we want to offer you a chance to show everyone how wrong they are about you. That is, if you're interested," Naruto said as Sakura's eyes widened and a tiny smile appeared on her face. Sakura inquired, "What do you mean?" After taking a look around, Naruto remarked, "Well, Sasuke and I have decided we want to change things for the better," he added, "better for me at least." As Sakura put it, "Really, what does that have to do with me?" Naruto replied, "Well, Sasuke and I are both better than we appear at the academy. I'm not really the doby everyone thinks I am. I pretend to be weak and stupid because I know that the Rookie of the Year and the Dead Last of the Year are always put on the same team together, so if Sasuke and I are going to work together we had to set ourselves up to be on the same team, and so he gets Rookie of the Year and I pretend to be the Dead Last. You know, deception, hiding your real skills. He's smarter than me, Sakura," Sakura said, glancing at Sasuke, who nodded. Naruto stated, "Anyways, we also know who our third teammate is going to be when we get Genin, as long as she doesn't screw it up, and that's the top kunoichi in class, which is you." Her eyes widened and she was about to say something, but Naruto said, "Don't get too excited yet, Sakura, we still have something to tell you now. You see, my adopted father created something that I gave to myself and Sasuke to help us get stronger, smarter, faster, make it where we are unable to be poisoned, and also heals faster. If you want to be on our team, then you're going to have to take my gift as well, but there are a few rules you will have to follow to get it." Inquiring, Sakura bit her lip and said, "What are they?" Naruto replied, "Before I can tell you the rules you would have to agree to them and take the gift." "Is he telling the truth?" Sakura inquired. Sakura asked, "What is this gift?" as Sasuke nodded. As he extracted a needle, Naruto uttered the words, "This." Sakura inquired, "What's that?" Naruto placed the needle on the table in front of her and said, "Sorry, can't tell you, but both Sasuke and I have taken it. It's your choice to take it or not." Naruto remarked, "Come on, Sasuke. Looks like she doesn't want to be on our team. Let's go talk to Ino. Maybe she will want to be our third teammate." Sakura scowled and turned to face the needle. Naruto then got up and started to walk toward the door, Sasuke following him. "Wait, I'll do it, but where do I put it?" yelled Sakura. Naruto replied, "In your arm. It will burn and hurt for a few minutes, but I put a painkiller in it to help you deal with it, but you will pass out from it for about 5 minutes. If you want, Sasuke can stay here and watch you, or we both can until you wake back up, or if you don't like the idea of having two guys around your body when you're asleep, you could go to the bathroom and lock the door and lay in the tub so you don't fall and hurt yourself. It's your choice and we will know if you took it or not." Fearfully, Sakura bit her lip and looked at the needle. She picked it up, and Naruto said, "If you want, I can give it to you." When Sakura held it out, Naruto approached and stabbed her arm, injecting it into her skin. Sakura let out a painful scream before fainting. Then Sasuke said, "So what now? Easy, we wait," announced Naruto. After 10 minutes, Sakura started to move and inquired, "What happened?" "Remember, you accepted our offer," Naruto said. After giving it some thought, Sakura said, "Oh yeah." Naruto continued, "Now the rules are simple. You can't tell anyone about my gift or the fact we are screwing the system to set our team up. You are also going to have to start training for real, Sakura, and I don't mean just what they tell us at the academy. You are going to have to start really training, eating, and studying to be a better ninja. You will be our team medic since you have perfect chakra control and a great memory. Since you know what your part of the team is, you need to start learning everything about medicine, poisons, the human body, and anything else related to it. Go to the library, hospital, talk with Ino, Choji, Shikamaru, Kiba and all their family on learning anything about medicine. You can now also, since you know you're going to be on the same team as Sasuke and me, and we are still too young to actually be dating or anything like that, let's work on being teammates first. If you would help Sasuke with his fangirl problem, then we would really appreciate it." As Sakura put it, "Help him how?" Naruto replied, "Well, how about you and Ino, instead of fighting against each other, work together to eliminate the competition? I asked Ino earlier if she would start sitting on one side of him to make it where there would be only one open seat, and if you took that seat, then nobody but you two could sit by him. Also start following Sasuke on Tuesday and Thursdays until he's already 3/4 of the way home, and if any of those stalker girls follow him after halfway to his house, scare them off. Don't hurt or kill them, but scare them off. Think you could do that?" Sakura responds with a nod. Well, that's about it. You just need to spend at least half your time training your body and half the time training your mind. Does that sound good to you, Sasuke? Hearing Naruto's words in his mind, Sasuke nods and says, well, I think that's enough for today. I got training to do and so do you both. As he stood up and began to walk away, Naruto said, don't become my friend all of a sudden or people will notice that and look at our team and that will screw all our hard work. Understand? Good, CYA. After he left, Sasuke remarked, don't you have training to do, Sakura? As she walked away, Sakura said, oh yeah, CYA Sasuke-kun. After she left, Naruto returned to the room and said, Ino has already joined Cobra and I got her to start training to get to use her family jutsu. Sakura will be our public face to keep attention from us. When she goes to sleep, she will forget the gift I gave her and think that we just talked to her and she decided to be our team medic. Ino will be back to report her progress in 2 months. I want you to take 1% of your family money and put it in this account. This is a dummy account that I will go to a neighboring town and withdraw from and put into my Cobra account in another bank. If asked what the money is for, tell them it is a gift to an old family friend of your mother's who's sick in another town. After that, start to train hard and get a weapon. Ask for help from ninjas, teachers, people at the weapon stores, but train hard. Until then I will be preparing to take over route. When he started to leave. What do you want me to do about the girls? Asked Sasuke. As he walked away, Naruto grinned and said, don't worry, both girls will see you only as a friend or superior, CYA. After shaking his head, Sasuke pondered, so he got rid of both my headaches. I wonder if he would get rid of the others as well. Time jump a year later. So are you both ready for your part of the plan? Asked 10-year-old Naruto, biting his lip as he glanced at Sasuke and Ino. Ino replied, yes commander, I've gotten good enough with my family jutsu to take over a person body for 10 minutes, which will be more than long enough to do what needs to be done. Taking a needle from his weapon pouch, Naruto nods and says, here I designed this specifically for Danzo, do not fail. After they both nodded, Naruto thought, this is it, father. A waitress approached Ino and Sasuke as they were sitting at a cafe across from the Hokage Tower and said, ah, how cute, so what can I do for such a cute couple? Ino replied, I'll have a glass of water and a small salad. Please, tea and dango, said Sasuke. Right away, said the waitress. After a few minutes, the waitress brought their food back and said, enjoy. As they both started eating slowly, Sasuke stiffened and exclaimed, there he is. As she started to slowly make hand signs beneath the table, Ino looked over and saw Danzo nodding. She mumbled the name of her family jutsu and said, 3, 2, 1 now. As she started to slump forward, Sasuke jumped forward and gave her what looked like a kiss. The waitress who was observing them whispered, Kui. With a sigh, Sasuke remarked, damn, she fainted. When she noticed Sasuke's dejected expression, the waitress remarked, don't worry, she must really like you and was embarrassed. Girls do that. Sasuke replied, is there any way we can get out of the public view? I mean, I don't want to cause a scene when she wakes up. Sure. You need some help carrying her, the waitress said. After picking Ino up in bridal style, Sasuke said, no miss. He then followed the woman to a small storage room at the back of the stand. The woman replied, now, don't do anything that I wouldn't do. Sasuke pondered after the door was shut, like I would. Before he casually entered the food stand where Sasuke and Ino had been. Danzo was leaving the Hokage office when he tensed up and glanced to his left and right as he passed the storage closet. Sasuke protruded his needle and uttered the words, 3, 2, 1. As a needle pricked him in the stomach, Danzo said, release. Danzo started to scream in agony as Sasuke hurriedly shut and locked the door. Danzo was approached by 2 root agents, one of whom asked, are you alright? Danzo was saying, it burns, my insides are on fire. What am I doing here? What has happened? One of the 2 root agents scanned the area, and after discovering that the closet was locked, he drew back and kicked the door after sensing a chakra signature inside. Because her shirt was on the floor, Ino screamed and covered her chest. Sasuke turned, glared, and said, what the hell? As he stood in front of Ino, his shirt buttons half unbuttoned. Oh hell, Inoichi is going to kill him, the root operator thought. Upon seeing them, Danzo commanded, leave them, get me back to my office now. As the previous waitress rushed into the room and inquired, what happened? Ino and Sasuke hastily straightened their clothes after both root ninja grabbed Danzo and shushed away. Sasuke commented, these 2 Anbu-looking guys kicked the door in as this guy with bandages on his face was screaming, it scared my date. The server looked at her and said, I see, well, why don't you both go on and try and enjoy the rest of the day? I'll let you have this meal free since those ninjas scared you. I wish you both luck. From Sasuke, thanks come on Ino. Ino replied, I think I should go home Sasuke-kun, I need some time to think. Sasuke replied, alright, but if you want to talk I'm here for you. Sasuke put his hands in his pockets and started to walk away after Ino nodded and went, thinking, can you hear me, Commander? Mission success? The thought crossed Naruto's mind as he crossed the street. Perfect, now we just have to wait. A computer disk was slipped into Naruto's mail slot on his door 2 weeks later. When Naruto saw it, he thought, like clockwork. He hurried over, grabbed the disk, and departed. Later that day, Naruto made his way into his mountaintop underground base, quickly arrived at the computers he had repaired or upgraded over the previous year, and inserted the disk. Naruto pulled up a file, and the more he read the wider his smile became, and thought, I now have all the registration files on every ninja of this village, including root operatives. The programming is working perfect, and the package of needles with nanites are already in an abandoned house at the Uchiha district. Danzo doesn't even know he ordered these files or that he sent his guards to get those needles. Once they get back, he will order them to begin giving them to all the squad leaders of each root team. Over the next 3 months I will slowly gain full control of root, and Danzo won't even realize he's not in charge until it's too late. After 9 months, as the waiter placed a tray of dango and sake on the table, he said, pardon me, Anko, but a guy came by and ordered and paid for this and asked that you get it with this scroll. Anko Midarashi, 20, was sitting at the dango stand with Kurenai Yuihi, 17. Looks like you have a secret admiration for Anko, Kurenai said, blinking. As she opened the scroll and read, Anko snorted and said, or some guy wanting to get lucky easy. She then started eating a stick of dango. Come alone to the Hokage monument tonight at sunset if you wish to break free from the curse seal that Orochimaru placed on you. When Anko read that, she froze, and Kurenai questioned, what's wrong? Anko tossed the scroll onto the table and remarked, someone playing a sick joke. Kurenai's eyes widened as she read the scroll, scowled, and asked, what do you think? After a moment, Anko remarked, I think it's a trap. In response, Kurenai said, me too, are you going? As she reached for another stick of dango, Anko bit her lip and uttered, yeah, if it's real I can't let it pass, but if it is a joke or a trap someone's going to die. Kurenai replied, I'm coming also, just in case I'll hide in a genjutsu. With a small smile, Anko said, thanks. Anko entered the Hokage monument that evening just before sunset. A short while later, a figure in a shushin appeared, wearing white, with a red cobra painted on the front of his shirt, a white hood, and a mask covering his face. The figure said, you were told to come alone. I did, Anko said with a sword drawn from his back. The figure uttered the words, then I'll have to kill the other woman in the genjutsu if she isn't with you. According to Anko, wait, alright, she's with me. The figure was saying, tell her to come out, I know she's there and her genjutsu is useless against me. As she stepped outside, Kurenai said, I heard you. The persona inquired, who are you? Kurenai uttered, Kurenai Yuihi, who are you? The individual replied, you may call me Arashi Kage, my master wants to know what your relations with Anko is. According to Kurenai, I'm her best friend. Arashi paused for a while and replied, I understand my master has agreed to meet you both to discuss removal of the curse seal, but I have to shushiness to his location for security reason. Do you both agree to that? Kurenai and Anko exchanged nods as Arashi returned his sword to his back, approached, extended his arms, and said, hold on. Both did, and the three vanished from the mountain in a whirl of leaves. They appeared in a tunnel with lights above them, and Arashi stated, before we go any further I must inform you of the rules. There are seals halfway down this hallway that makes it where you can't use jutsu past that point. You were guest here and you will act as such. Any acts of aggression will be dealt with by me. You will show my master the proper respect. Do you both understand? Anko replied, we understand, but who is your master? Ignoring their question, Arashi started down the hall, and the women started to follow. They reached a fork in the tunnels after 10 minutes, and after turning right, they soon arrived at a room with a red cobra painted on the wall, a video display, a conference table in the center, and several chairs surrounding the table. Arashi said, please wait here, my master is on his way here now. And he moved to a wall and stood. After a short while, the wall rose aside from Arashi, and a figure wearing black trousers, a dark blue shirt, a dark blue jacket with a red cobra painted on it, black gloves, and a dark blue helmet mask that completely obscured the person's face. What both women noticed was that Arashi was 5 feet 6 inches and he was about 5 feet 5. Hello. Anko Midarashi and Kurenai Yuihi, let me introduce myself, I am Cobra Commander, the figure said as it moved over. After Anko snorted, CC remarked, something you find interesting, Anko? She said, I'm just curious as to when the surprise is going to be displayed. I mean, this is like one big costume party. As he snapped his fingers, CC said, I can assure you that this is no party. Several doors that neither woman had previously noticed opened, and 30 men wearing black masks with red cobras painted on them emerged, swiftly circling around them. CC replied, these are my Cobra commandos, each are as skilled as an Enbu individually. Still think this is a joke? With a frown, Anko remarked, more like a trap. CC responded, no, this is no trap either. If you would both sit down, I would be glad to explain how I can remove that seal from your neck as well as give you a job offer. After giving Kurenai a quick glance, Anko and CC sat down at the table slowly, and Anko said, so explain. As he pressed a button on the table, CC said, very well, please look at the screen behind us. Kurenai asked, what is that? After both women noticed some nanites. CC stated, those white things are actually white blood cells inside the human body, magnified to several thousand times their real size. As for those machines, that is my father's legacy that he passed to me. They're called nanites. His life's work. I've taken his knowledge and have been using it to complete his work. The nanites are how I plan to cure your curse seal by having them target the curse seal inside your body and destroy it from the inside out. Of course, that's if you don't take my job offer. Astonished, Anko asked, what is this job offer? Out of genuine curiosity. That's if I don't accept the offer, what the hell could he be offering me? The door next to Arashi opened again when CC snapped his finger, saying, before I tell you, I want to bring one other person in here, but don't worry, he's not a threat. Both women's eyes widened as Danzo entered, saying, yes, Cobra Commander. With a bow, shocking them both. CC responded, please sit down, Danzo. Now, as you both can see, Danzo here is actually my prisoner or slave, or servant or personal punching bag, depending on what kind of mood I am in. Now you see, Danzo here, he's an even bigger traitor to Konoha than Orochimaru and Itachi Uchiha put together. Danzo was the one who funded Orochimaru research on those children as well as the curse seal, making Anko incredibly angry. CC stated, he is also the man who ordered the Uchiha massacre. That's right, just like you were following order of your sensei like a good little ninja, Itachi was also following orders when he killed his clan. Danzo, Kaharu, Hamaru, and the Sandaime Hokage know all this, and yet they are all well respected while you were treated as a traitor and a snake whore, even though according to your last medical exam you're still a virgin, and Itachi is a missing nin because he couldn't finish his last order and he spared his brother's life instead of killing him like he was ordered to. Kurenai asked, what proof do you have, as Anko scowled. CC stated, that arm Danzo has in a sling has 3 Sharingan eyes that he stole from the bodies of Uchiha members after the massacre, along with one under his bandages. That arm was also grown by Orochimaru for him, and it contains the Mokuton bloodline. Danzo was planning to use the Sharingan and the Mokuton to turn the Kyuubi Jinchuriki into his own personal weapon. Isn't that right, Danzo? To which Danzo replied, yes, Cobra Commander. Anko replied, what the hell is he doing alive if you know he's a traitor? CC replied, because he's a very valuable tool since I made him my servant, but his usefulness is coming to an end. That is if you are interested in my job offer. Turning, Anko asked, what is this offer? CC raised his hand and replied, not yet, there is still some more info you need to hear and see before you hear my offer. Danzo, please inform Anko of the security measures that were taken about her when she returned to Konoha from Orochimaru. Danzo continued, the council and the Hokage had several seals placed on you in order to ensure that you were not a threat to the village. The first is a tracking seal that activates whenever you leave the village walls. Built into this seal is also a prisoner seal. If activated by a hand sign similar to the Hyuga cagebird seal, the seal could actually torture you to make you easier to capture or kill you if you are deemed too much of a threat. Finally is a sterility seal. The fear of what experiments Orochimaru did to you could pass on to any children you had. Made it where we had a seal making it impossible for you to have children placed on you. These seals were built into the seal that is restricting the curse seal on your neck. As Danzo collapsed to the ground in convulsions, CC scowled behind his mask and uttered, you should thank me, Danzo, for the pain you are in. After all, I just saved your life. Danzo was grinning from ear to ear and CC responded, no matter. Now you see, when I free you of the curse seal, my nanites will target all seals on your body, so they will destroy those seals as well. But since they were put on with the Hokage and the council's permission, what do you think will happen to you once they find out they are gone? Consider you a traitor even more and possibly kill you all for just following the orders of your sensei like you were trained and taught to do since the very first day in the academy. Kurenai asked, what are you getting at? As Anko bit her lip and glared at the painful image of Danzo. He pressed a button on the table and a keyboard appeared. He quickly began typing on it and said, let's see what we have about you both, shall we? Both women turned to the screen and were startled to see the picture of them from their registration files. This is interesting, CC said as he touched the keyboard and highlighted a section under mission history. Says Kurenai. What is that? CC turned to say, it's a mission that you are going to be given soon. You're going to be sent on an information gathering mission up north near the border of Fire and Ricefield. Anko replied, how do you know she's getting that mission? CC looked at her and replied, because I've used Danzo to infiltrate nearly every level of government of military power in this village. This mission was requested by Jiraiya of the Sannin for an informant of his. See that symbol right there, the one with the star? It's a special note the Sandaime puts on covert missions where only him and his 2 advisors can get access to. Danzo here has been working with both of them since the last reign of the Sandaime secretly. Anyways, you're not the one getting the info. Jiraiya is in exchange for the informant's payment you. As he entered the task highlighted in the 2 women. It can't be I'm Koreani, said. CC replied, it doesn't request you by name. Just a young kunoichi who is still a virgin. It could have been you or Anko or anyone else. Apparently the guy likes it when women fight back during sex. As he turned around to say, get out of my sight, Danzo. When the pain finally subsided, Danzo started to crawl away, but Arashi pulled back and kicked him in the ribs as he reached the door. Why are you telling us this? Anko scowled. CC continued, because if you accept my deal then you could protect your friend here and move her out of the Sandaime's hands as well as the council. You see, I want you to join Cobra both actually, but I had only originally planned for you. In exchange I will have Danzo hand over control of Root to you publicly as well, make you a council member replacing him on the council. This will give you a chance to get the satisfaction of seeing them having to swallow their pride and treat you with respect even thought they don't want to also. As he continued to explain his intentions for the Anko and concluded, and so with your power you could make Kurenai your assistant in helping to organize and control your men and serve Cobra. The only one you would answer to would be me. Before everyone except Kurenai and Anko left, CC snapped his finger and brought in a tray containing some dango and sake as well as several bottles of iced water. Anko scowled and CC said, why don't I give you both a few minutes to think about it? I'll be back in 1 hour to get your answers. Arashi asked, do you think they will accept? After CC. As he entered a lab and started typing on a computer, a giant tube of black-looking liquid started to bubble as the tube's power came on. CC said, hate will let you do things you normally wouldn't, and both women have a reason to hate. Those in power of Konoha. Fear can also make you do some things you wouldn't normally do. They both have a reason to fear as well, since one is facing being killed, a possible traitor if she wants her freedom, and the other is facing being either raped or forced into sex. After looking around, Arashi uttered the words, Nar, I mean Commander. You know the rules better than that. What's wrong? CC said, pausing his typing. Arashi replied, I have a request. I would like to recruit someone into Cobra. CC remarked, who, as Arashi put it, Hinata Hyuga. Take it off, Sasuke, CC said, reaching up and removing his helmet to reveal that he was Naruto. Why do you want Hinata to join us? Asked Naruto as Arashi removed his mask to reveal Sasuke. Sasuke clenched his teeth and said, you've seen how everyone treats her, including her family. I'm tired of seeing her get hurt and want to help her. Halfway around, Naruto grinned and remarked, I see, took you long enough. Blinking, Sasuke questioned, what? Naruto replied, Sasuke, I know you better than probably anyone in this village. Hell, probably the world. Ever since you found out the truth about Itachi, you can't stand to see families suffer. I've seen you ready to nearly go Itachi on the Hyuga clan several times, and I know right now you're good enough to actually take some of them out since you spend so much time training with Root, but how far are you willing to go to help her? According to Sasuke, as far as needed. Putting his feet up on the desk and letting out a sigh, Naruto remarked, Sasuke, do you know why I won't bring Ino or Sakura here? Sasuke shook his head no, and Naruto said, it's because I realized something. My nanites are indeed a very powerful and useful item that can change the world. But it can't give me the one thing I want. I put a program in both girls' nanites to make it where they would fall out of love with you and fall in love with me. Ino was an instant love and Sakura was a love that would build up over time. The programs worked perfectly, and if I just wanted them for sex or bragging right, then they would both have been fine with it. I dated them both, separately and together, but I never did anything with either. Both girls made moves on me, and I realized at that moment that my nanites can't give me love. I didn't learn who my mother was until Danzo told us. I never knew who my sperm donor was. I realize now that when I was 4 and found this place I wanted anyone to love me. That was why I was so willing to take the original Cobra Commander as my father, and why I see my own as nothing more than a sperm donor. I gave both Ino and Sakura new nanites, and they are now friends with me and will follow my orders if I have to use them as such. But both girls are getting stronger while also living. Ino got that little boy toy, what he's called again. Sai, said Sasuke. Naruto replied, yeah. Sai, she actually likes him because he looks a lot like you, but because of his root training his mind is more fucked up than both of us put together, and she loves screwing his mind over. That's why you called her mindbender, Sasuke remarked. Naruto replied, sort of. For those I know will be close to me, I gave you each the names of the original Cobra who were close to my father, or at least tried to, but like I said, Ino got Sai and Sakura got Kabuto, the adopted son of the head of the hospital. Sasuke replied, and also a spy working for Akasuna no Sasori. Naruto replied, true, but he also had a curse seal from Orochimaru. That boy seems to be everyone's bitch, so I thought that giving him to Tomax and Zaymot would make them happy, so I freed him while giving him a tattoo to look like the curse seal that can be destroyed later. Sasuke responded, that reminds me, why the hell did you give Sakura 2 names? Naruto stated, because the girl's crazy as hell and has a second personality in her. After learning of the Kyuubi, I made my own joke in my head and thought of her second personality as her twin that she sealed inside herself, and I figure give each a name to keep off her shit list. I may be immune to poisons thanks to the nanites and the fox, but I wouldn't want to piss that girl off. She's better with needles than I am. Sasuke remarked, now that's scary. Naruto laughed and replied, you want Hinata? Fine. You recruit her and she will serve you. I'll make you some nanites for her this week, but she's got to get strong and I don't want a Hyuga massacre. I won't program any personal feelings into her program though, except that she will be more confident in herself and loyally to Cobra. Anything else you will have to work on with her. She also isn't coming to this base. Use the one under your clan compound to train her with your unit, and if there is any trouble with her clan you deal with it, and I don't mean body bags. Sasuke replied, once, I killed one guy and you never let me live it down. Naruto replied, hey, you killed more than that. You killed 67 guys, but that one guy just called you gay and you cut him into 22 separate pieces in front of an entire fucking crowd. I had to write a program to reconstruct a guy's face to make him look like you so that he could get killed by Anbu, so you wouldn't be put in the bingo book. I see you as a brother, Sasuke, but I still owe you an ass kicking for that. As the computer began to beep. As he looked at the computer, Sasuke exclaimed, what? As he shut off the monitor, Naruto muttered, so I was right. According to Sasuke, right about what? Naruto circled around again and said, Sasuke, you have your secrets and I have mine. This is one of mine for now. When I am ready I will tell you, but give me space for now. Okay. Fine, but can you add something to Hinata nanites for me? Scowled Sasuke. Naruto questioned, what? Naruto slapped Sasuke's face and said, just go, get out of my face for now. He then started massaging his temples after Sasuke grinned and clarified what he wanted. After putting his mask back on, Sasuke said, I hate you, I really do, but yeah, I'll put that in her programming now. Give me a few minutes to get back to my work. Naruto then glared at Arashi. When CC and Arashi returned to the room where Anko and Kurenai were an hour after they had left, he saw that the food and beverages had been consumed. So what have you decided? CC asked. Anko replied, we want to know what Cobra is and what you plan to do. CC got up and asked, do you know why there are so many ninja wars and why you have to do missions like the one coming up for you, Kurenai, and why so many men and women have to die for stupid missions? The answer is simple. There's an old saying, too many commanders and not enough soldiers. There are too many different factions in the world all fighting against each other for power and dominance. That is why I plan to end it by uniting all the nations under one banner. By bringing about world domination I can ensure world peace. There won't be a reason to seduce enemies for information because there won't be any enemies. There will only be criminals who can be dealt with quickly. As Kurenai put it, so you plan to destroy Konoha? Pardon me for my laughter, but that was stupid. Kurenai, how do you kill a snake? Anyone? CC said, laughing. Cut off its head, Anko said incoherently as Kurenai scowled at CC. CC replied, correct. Now can either of you tell me who the head would be? For Kurenai, it was the Hokage. CC replied, no, while the Hokage is the head of this village he takes orders from someone much higher. Can you guess who? With wide eyes, Anko uttered, the Fire Lord. CC replied, very good. Each hidden village, regardless of how powerful or weak, they have to follow the orders of the feudal lord or king of the country they are in. Have you ever heard of control through fear? Each of the 5 great nations do that now with the help of their greater numbers, resources, or jinchuriki, including Konoha. The feudal lords control the hidden village through fear, also by threatening to cut off resources that the villages need to survive like food or money. My nanites are also a weapon that will become feared by the world. They can be used for so many things, from healing to destroying to control. Depending on how I program them, I can make it where they could target all organic and it would destroy anything that is not made of metal or stone, or I could have it target all things non-organic and destroy all metal and stone in an area, or any combination of the two. The possibilities are endless, really. Anko replied, so you're going to do what exactly? Put those things in people and control them? CC replied, hell no, I only do that with people like Danzo, his root agents, and a few others that had to be sacrificed for the greater good. What's the use of ruling the world if you kill everyone by turning them into puppets? Asked Kurenai. And who all have you sacrificed for the greater good? CC stated, I've had some of my Cobra commandos that were former root members track down bandits and mercenaries who were terrorizing trade routes and smaller villages and capture as many of them as possible. Then they gave them an injection of nanites that turned them basically into Cobra operatives. Since they are only bandits or mercenaries, I have them searching out other bandits and mercenaries to not only protect the people who are being terrorized, and the bandits are either killed or become more of my men. Right now I have around 150 of them in the Elemental Nation, and they have basically become a spy network for me. They pass messages back to my commandos telling us who is hiring them, who's causing trouble, and other useful information like that. I know you both don't like the idea of me doing that, but think about the Yamanaka clan. They basically do the exact same thing as my nanites, except mine is a more long-term deal. Kurenai looked at Anko and replied, he's right, but if you can make people basically do what you want, how can I know you're not going to do the same with me? CC stated, Arashi over there is my personal enforcer and bodyguard. He also has nanites in him, but he has his own thoughts and control of his body. His nanites protect him from poison, heal him quicker from injuries, increases his speed, strength, and reaction time, as well as helping him remember things easier. We are able to talk to each other without speaking out loud if we are close to each other. I actually want to give you the same setup he has, since it's one I want to give to each of my generals. Kurenai will have to receive some as well. Now hold on, Kurenai said. CC stated, please stop and listen first. The reason you have to have them is why even if Anko turns down my offer to join me, she will also still get some to remove those seals from her, since I know what it is like to have a seal ruin your life. The nanites all have one set of instructions that cannot be changed. It was created by my father, and those are that you will be unable to speak about the nanites to anyone unless I give you permission to, and you won't be able to speak about anything you have seen or heard here today. This is not an option since you already have them in you. The eyes of both women widened, and Anko uttered the words, the Dango. CC replied, correct, I am sorry, but it was for security reasons. All that is waiting for is for me to send the signal to activate them, and you both will pass out, and I will have some of my female Cobra commandos take you both back to your homes. When you wake up, the seals on your neck will be gone, so you will be free, and you just won't be able to speak about Cobra, me, or my nanites, and the nanites can read your mind and keep you from writing or sending code about them. Also, I did give you a little gift though, as I have done with Arashi. Both of you can send each other messages without speaking by sending a small amount of chakra to your neck here, as he pointed to a spot. CC continued, after that you can speak to each other, no problem. You both will heal faster and are now immune to poisons and will have faster reflexes, be a little stronger and faster. The only question is now, what will you do? Will you join Cobra or go back to your lives? Anko inquired, what will happen if we join Cobra? CC stated, you will both get a couple more nanites. These nanites have command codes so that all Cobras will instantly know you are generals and to be listened to unless your orders go against my own. You will also be able to speak with me or other generals without the use of your mouth, so enemies won't be able to overhear our conversation if we are being spied on. As I said, you Anko would get command of Root officially, but it will only be 50 Cobras. These Cobra in this unit will be called Vipers and are yours to use as you see fit, and that includes training. When you're in council chambers, Kurenai, if she accepts, then will be in charge of them, or if you are not in Konoha for some reason, she will be in charge of them. You will spy on the council and the Hokage and try to keep all information related to Cobra from being put together. You will be in charge of things around Konoha mostly. Also, if we get a chance to go after Orochimaru, you will be there for the battle with him. Kurenai bit her lip as Anko's eyes brightened, and Anko turned to face her. Kurenai nodded slowly, and Anko responded, we accept. Arashi, please see to it that Anko is taken to her home by a female Cobra, and have the Cobra wait until she wakes up to tell her to meet at 10:45 a.m. in front of the council chambers for Danzo to take her before the council. Also make sure she is given this, CC said as he produced a needle and gave it to Arashi. Anko started to scream as soon as the words left her mouth, but Arashi caught her before she hit the ground. Do not worry about her after you take care of Anko. Go ahead and go about getting some rest, you still have your cover to keep, CC said as Arashi turned to face Kurenai, who was looking perplexed. As two female Cobras, identified by the way their clothes fit, approached and seized Anko before they departed, Arashi nods and gestures for the door. Once Kurenai and CC were the only people left in the room, he turned and said, "Please follow me." Kurenai asked, "What's going on?" When CC approached the door and made a follow gesture, Kurenai bit her lip and started to follow him. She responded with silence. After walking in silence for about 5 minutes, they reached a set of stairs and descended them until they reached the end of another hallway. Before they could go any farther, CC said, "Before we go further, I want you to know that you are about to see a secret that Danzo had hid from everyone and I learned about after I took control of him. I've done all I can to help, but even I have limits to what I can do." He then cut his finger and pressed it to each of the cobra fangs on the picture of a cobra, and the door glowed and opened. When Kurenai and CC entered the room, Kurenai gasped when she noticed a hospital bed in the center of the space. Facing away from the door, she could hear the heart monitor and saw multiple machines attached to the patient. "What is this?" she asked, turning to face CC, who was staring down. CC walked over and leaned against the wall with his arms crossed and his head down, gesturing with his hand for her to continue. Kurenai appeared perplexed and anxious before she turned to face the person on the bed. Her eyes widened, and she said, "Mother." Glaring at CC, Kurenai exclaimed, "What the hell is this? My mother died." CC let out a sigh. "Do you know how you got that scar on your left hip that goes to your ribs?" With a frown, Kurenai stated, "No, it happened when I was a kid." CC stated, "You were 6 when you got it from what I was told. You got it the same day mother here fell into a coma from her injuries when an assassin was sent to kill most of your family. From what I was told, the Sandaime had a Yamanaka use their clan's jutsu to make you believe she died on a mission so that you would forget the truth of what happened that day and you could go about living a normal life. Mind you, all I know for sure is what Danzo told me, since the assassin was one of his route that he sent." Why did he want to kill my family? Is she going to be alright?" Kurenai asked, glancing at the woman on the bed. CC stated, "She's dying. Her condition's gotten worse over the last few months that I've had her here, even though I had my nanites healing her. I've had them remove all the poisons from her system as well as repair the organs that were damaged by them as best as possible, but the damage was untreated for too long. I had planned to contact you soon, which is why I was willing to let you come in with Anko. I hadn't known that you were friends at the time with her. Right now there are only 2 choices that can be done for her." Kurenai asked, turning, "What are they?" CC stated, "I have her sedated right now to keep her comfortable as best as possible. Since the damage to her body is painful for her, I can give her a shot with some more nanites that will remove all the pain from her body and wake her up from her coma, but she won't last the night. You would get a chance to talk to her and say goodbye, or we can let her rest and just eventually pass away in her sleep. It's your call." Kurenai remarked, "What if we had a doctor come and treat her?" CC nodded and continued, "I've had several come and look at her, even threatened to kill a few or pay them a fortune if they could cure her, and they all told me that not even Tsunade would be able to heal all the damage to her and that her condition was terminal." With tears streaming down her cheeks, Kurenai reported, "She's suffering." "Yes," CC replied as she held her mother's hand. Kurenai sniffed and wiped a few tears from her eyes before saying, "Damn it, why did Danzo want to kill us? What did we do that he wanted us dead for?" When CC remained silent, Kurenai yelled, "Damn it, answer me." Quietly, CC said, "Your brother." Startled by the tone of the voice she heard, Kurenai blinked and said, What do you mean, my brother?" CC stated, "You have a half-brother who is younger than you. He has a gift that Danzo thought would have been a great asset to Root. Mother was an obstacle to getting at your brother and sent an assassin to kill her and to take your brother. He did attack her and used a poison weapon, and while his back was turned you grabbed your mother's sword she had lost in the fight against the assassin and stabbed him in the kidney. The Root took the poisoned weapon out of her body and slashed you with it before he fell to the ground dead. That's where that scar came from. From what I was told, she was a medic and removed the poison from you before she fell into a coma." Kurenai became agitated and questioned, "My brother, what happened to him? Why can't I remember him? Where is he? Is he in Root or Cobra? Please tell me." CC was quiet for a while and said, "Again, all I know is what Danzo told me when I forced him to tell me. He told me that when you and her were in the hospital that Danzo kidnapped her from there and that the Sandaime with her gone decided to have a Yamanaka use their bloodline on you and either sealed away your memories or destroyed them and gave you new ones that told that she died on a mission and erased all traces of your brother in your mind. I don't know how much is true since the Sandaime didn't tell Danzo and only vaguely told Hamaru and Kaharu." Scowling, Kurenai questioned, "But what of my brother?" CC stated, "Knowledge is power and power comes at a price. Therefore knowledge comes at a price. Your brother is alive. He is in Cobra, but he didn't want you to come into Cobra. In fact, he wanted you to never know about him so that you could live your life in peaceful ignorance instead of the pain you feel now." Looking up, Kurenai questioned, But if he didn't want me to know, then why?" CC stated, because of her because soon a choice will have to be made. The sedative that we are currently using on her is losing its effect on her. In fact, the latest result of blood test show that she could awaken at any time. Either I switch to another sedative that is much stronger that will most likely make it where she will never awaken, or I can bring her out of the coma for a short period of time before she passes away. Your brother, it was cruel of him to do it, but I placed a special nanite inside your mother that has allowed her to see the world through your brother's eyes linked to the ones inside him. She knows you are here now. Your brother can see you thanks to some hidden cameras. It was his way of telling her that both of you are alive, so if it is chosen not to revive her, then she can die in peace knowing that her children are safe. Kurenai replied, but I want to meet him. He's the only family I have besides mother. CC asked, and what I told you, knowledge is power. If you found out who he is, will you hate him for who he is or what he has done? Would you love him? What if he was a monster, a killer, a rapist? A madman? You have a connection through blood. But so did Itachi Uchiha, and he was willing to kill the rest of his clan under orders. While blood is a bond you have, it is all the bond you have. Both he and I have read your file when he learned of you, and so we know the story about how you were supposedly conceived through a mission. It could have been a mission, or it could have been a rape. Or it could have been with someone she truly loved who died or is still alive in the world, and you were given that story as part of your fake memories. The only one who knows for sure is her, but your brother believes that his sperm donor was no better than a mission or rape. That it was his fault that mother is in this conditions, and that you've had you memory fucked with to the point you don't know the truth. That any bond of being siblings you and him could ever have had were destroyed because of his sperm donor and the people of this village, and the gift he was cursed with that made people like Danzo want him. Now with that knowledge, what would you do if he was someone you were told to kill someday? What if he was some kind of monster or demon? What if he was someone you loved in another way as a crush or possible boyfriend or lover? What if he was someone you hated? What would you do? After biting her lip and turning to face CC, Kurenai opened her mouth when a hand suddenly grabbed her wrist, startling both of them when they realized it belonged to the woman on the bed. After a swift approach, CC said, Kushina, take it easy, don't try and move, save your strength. With her other hand, Kushina grabbed CC's wrist to stop him. She then moved both of her hands together, holding Kurenai's and CC's hands between them, and she uttered the feeble words, my children. When Kurenai realized what her mother was saying, her eyes widened even more. She turned to face CC, who bowed his head slightly and used his free hand to remove the mask from his face and head. Kurenai recognized the man, and Naruto said softly, Mother. Kushina murmured, Naruto. Kurenai, I love you both. I'm sorry I wasn't there. I please be there for each other. All I have left is you. You are my legacy, my hope, my dreams, my life. Live life for me together, please. We will, mom. I love you, Kurenai said, her eyes welling with tears. With a small smile, Kushina remarked, and I, you, my crimson setting sun, and you as well, my spiraling maelstrom. I'm proud of you both always. With a desperate tone, Naruto said, please rest, mother. I can make the pain go away. I'll find a way to help you, please. Kushina slightly shook her head and replied, no, my pain is already gone. I got to see my children one last time. Hold on to each other. You are all the family. Either of you have left. You are no monster, son. You are a prince and you are a princess. My prince and princess, be strong for each other and protect each other. Promise me, both of you, promise that you will be family. Kurenai's voice cracked as she said, we will, mother. Always, mother, Naruto said solemnly as she closed her eyes and her hands dropped from Kurenai's and Naruto's hands. Kushina grinned and uttered, then I can finally res T. Kurenai cried out, "Mother," as she fell forward toward Kushina's body and started to hold it, while Naruto closed his eyes as tears started to fall. Naruto grabbed his mask, put it back on, and started to head for the door. Kurenai said, "Where are you going?" in a choked voice as Naruto reached up to the flatlined heart machine and turned it off along with the IV. CC turned to say, "I've only known her in a coma for a couple of months, and then this one conversation. It hurts me, but I'm used to being alone. She was there for you. Even if the memories you have were fake, you still had her in your life, so you deserve the right to mourn her death privately without worrying about saying or doing something to upset someone you don't know." As he turned and returned to the door. With a frown, Kurenai remarked, "She's your mother also." CC paused, turned his head slightly, and said, "And?" Kurenai scowled, snatched CC by the collar, grabbed his mask, and tore it off. She froze when she noticed Naruto crying, thinking, he was trying to act strong for me. Naruto put his arms around her and drew her as close to him as he could as she hurried forward and pulled him into an embrace. As both siblings sobbed in each other's arms, the sound of their sobs filled the room. After a few minutes, Naruto led Kurenai out of the room and down the hallway to another door. He cut his finger on the door, slid it across a cobra symbol, opened it, and ushered her inside. Kurenai surveyed the room, which had a king-size bed, a dresser, a number of recliner chairs, a desk, bookshelves, and other items that seemed to be a hybrid of a meditation room, office, den, and bedroom. As he led her to a group of chairs and sat down, Naruto said, "My home." Kurenai emitted a startled cry as he pulled her down with him. "Don't say anything and don't think of me as your brother, just think of me as someone here who wants to comfort you," Naruto said as he started to massage her back. Spitting and grinning a little, Kurenai remarked, "Not how I pictured today going." Naruto continued to gently and softly rub her back while saying, "Neither did I am here for you." Looking down, Kurenai said, "I want to tell you about her," and sniffed before adding, "but I don't know if what I remember is real now." She sounded upset and started crying, thinking, "I can't believe this mom just died and I can't even be sure my memories of her are real to think about the good times." With a lowered head, Naruto muttered, "I know, just let it out." Kurenai whirled around and started sobbing into his shoulder. As tears streamed from his own eyes, Naruto, who was still massaging her back, started massaging her stomach. While they were crying, Kurenai put her arms around Naruto's head, keeping him close to her, and Naruto rested his head in the crook of her neck, continuing to rub her stomach and back. They both dozed off in each other's arms, and when Naruto woke up a few hours later, he heard Kurenai sobbing quietly in her sleep and started massaging her back and stomach once more. As he continued to rub without raising his head from where it was resting in an attempt to comfort Kurenai, Naruto thought, "That's strange, her belly button's an outie instead of an innie, why didn't I notice that before?" Kurenai was tense when she woke up and felt like she was being held by someone. Memories of the incident soon returned, and Naruto observed that her sobs had stopped and he said softly, "I'm here for you." Knowing whose lap she was sitting on, Kurenai relaxed and didn't try to move until she felt something. Her eyes widened, and she thought, "What the fuck?" She cleared her throat and asked, in a neutral tone, "What are you doing?" Naruto continued to fail to look up, "Rubbing your back and stomach. I fell asleep earlier and woke up hearing your sobs in your sleep, so I started rubbing them again to try and comfort you. Why?" "Oh," Kurenai bit her lip, thinking, "It's just a simple mistake. His hand must have drifted up in our sleep. I don't want to make things even more weird for now." The sensation of his hand moving along her breast above her outfit and brushing against her nipple made Kurenai feel a little more attracted. She bit her lip and thought, "I think I better stop this before things get any more oh shit." "Does that help?" asked Naruto himself. "Guess so. I'll have to thank Tomax and Zaymot later for teaching me how to use chakra to massage. It doesn't hurt, does it?" Naruto sounded concerned as he heard Kurenai bite her lip and groan. As she closed her eyes and, without realizing it, started to squeeze her legs together slightly to relieve some of the heat that was beginning to build up between them while sitting on Naruto's lap, Kurenai let out a gasp. "No. Oh shit, go down, damn it. I don't want to freak her out. Why the hell is it getting hard?" was Naruto's thought as he felt himself becoming hard. After this continued for a few minutes. As her body started to grind against Naruto's, Kurenai's eyes widened and she thought, "Oh fuck, why is he getting hard now of all times? Oh my, it can't be." She bit her lip and closed her eyes. With a moan, Naruto muttered, "Nai." Kurenai groaned, "Naru." As they both raised their heads and gazed into each other's eyes, seeing reflections of their own feelings regarding the death of their mother and their lives. As they drew closer, the sadness of losing their mother gradually gave way to the desire to be loved, the desire to keep all other loved ones safe, and the desire to feel accepted and not alone. Kurenai woke up the following morning with the sensation of a warm body against hers, memories of the previous night returning to her, and Naruto's voice whispering, "Good morning," in her ear. "Morning," Kurenai said quietly. "This is probably wrong to say, but for the first time in my life I feel loved and I am content with life," Naruto said as he scooted away from Kurenai after she rolled onto her back and he lay on top of her, gazing lovingly at her. After they broke their kiss, Kurenai sighed and said, "You know, we should be thinking what we did was wrong, that it was a mistake, but I don't. For every argument that I can make against it, like the fact that we are siblings, I have to point out that the Hyuga clan does it." Kurenai had laughed and pulled him down to kiss her. Naruto stated, "And the Uchiha Fujiku, Sasuke Uchiha dad, well, that is one fucked up guy. His mother Isa was the third wife of the previous clan head who also happened to have been her father, and Sasuke mom Makoto was also the daughter of the second wife of the previous clan head, so they were siblings and cousins." According to Kurenai, "Really? Yeah," Naruto replied. With a sigh, Kurenai uttered, "But what now?" Biting his lip, Naruto questioned, "Do you regret last night?" After staring at Naruto for a few minutes, Kurenai said, "No, even though I hadn't anticipated it, and I can tell you didn't either. I don't regret it. In fact, I'm a little relieved." With a blink, Naruto questioned, "Relieved why?" According to Kurenai, who could I trust to share my first time with then someone I know who loves me, not because of my looks or my rank, or anything superficial like that but actual love. Looking down, Naruto bit his lip, and Kurenai said, "Something wrong?" According to Naruto, it wasn't my first time. Inquiringly, Kurenai blinked and remarked, "Oh well, that explains how you were so good then." Rolling to the side of the bed, Naruto turned red, turned away, and uttered, "It wasn't my choice, in fact it was the final acts that pushed me to truly starting Cobra." Kurenai positioned himself and inquired, "What do you mean?" Naruto pursed his lips and said, "I guess to explain I have to start at the beginning. I was kicked out of the orphanage at the age of 4. I have no memories before being in the orphanage. I think my own memories might have been erased also. Anyways, when I was living on the streets I had no food or home or even shelter. I think Kyuubi did something to my body back then to make it where I could live on little to no food. Anyways, I was in the woods looking for food when I found a cherry tree. I climbed the tree and began to eat every cherry on the tree. I was still hungry and I saw a couple more out over a river that was nearby, and when I went to get them I fell in the river and was swept downstream before being pulled under because I didn't know how to swim." Naruto covered his mouth and said, "That was when I somehow blacked out and awoke in this place. It was an old military base that predates Konoha. Except everything was black and I could hear and feel the water around me pouring into one of the rooms where one of the walls gave way over time. I felt around in the darkness until I entered the main lab. The lab had sensors that activated when I walked in. Even after all those years of unused, a video came on and the original Cobra commander appeared and said since this place hadn't blown up he must be dead. He said he left his life work to me as his heir. I was so desperate for any kind of connection or family back then that I instantly thought of him as a father to me, and when he offered me a chance to receive the gift of his life work I took it without a thought." Naruto extended his arms and said, "See these 2 Cobra scars in the circles? I placed my arms in 2 holes in a wall and nanites were injected into me with his entire knowledge of nanites as well as all information he had on Cobra. He told me that if I chose to honor him then I would show the world the greatness of his work and the power of his army, the Cobra." At first I thought I would agree, but I was really unsure since most of the info I had couldn't be used besides the info on the nanites, as the world was totally different than it is now and everyone he gave me info on has been dead a long time. I started living here rather than living on the street until after nearly half a year on the street the Sandane just happened to see me as I was stealing garbage out of a trash can. As Kurenai listened to Naruto's story, she clenched her fist but said nothing. Naruto sighed and said, "He gave me an apartment in the poorer part of town and he said he would have someone bring me food every week." As he snorts and said, "The guy who brought me my food the 3rd week turned out to be an assassin the civilian council hired to kill me. I had been working with nanites a little at that point and had created my first test batch because people had been breaking into my apartment and destroying it, so I thought if I got a guard dog that he could protect my apartment. Dogs don't like me though, so I had planned to use nanites with a simple command, follow my orders. When the guy attacked me he didn't use any weapon, he wanted the pleasure of choking the life out of me. I pulled out the small cup of nanites that I had made for a dog and I smashed them on the guy's head. I watched as they went into his eyes, nose, ears, and mouth. The guy screamed for several minutes and passed out. I sat there I don't know how long until the guy woke up. He was nothing more than a drone. He looked at me with lifeless eyes and it was at that point I realized the power I had at my hands, and it both pleased and scared me." Kurenai inquired, "What happened to him?" Naruto replied, "Oh, him. Dead. I used him to get me supplies, food, cloths, and other things like that for the next year. The council then made a lie up and had him killed as a bandit." "I see, Naruto. Have you Kurenai said. Naruto noticed the expression that Kurenai had on her face. "Killed? Yeah. Anyways, over the next 4 years I continued to study nanites while also starting the academy, and because of my fear of what I could do with nanites I decided to think everything to do with them through very carefully to make sure that I didn't create a monster that I couldn't handle. That was when it happened." Kurenai inquired, "What happened?" With a sigh, Naruto uttered the words, "Hana Inuzuka." Kurenai's eyes narrowed as he said, "Hana, what about her?" Naruto continued, "I had snuck out of the village as I had been doing since the council killed the assassin to get food and supplies from another town. Hana had been selected for the Chunin exams in Grass Country. I think that was where it was, I don't remember and it's not important, but she was the only one on her team to make it to the finals, and so her teammates had came back to Konoha and Hana stayed while Sume Inuzuka and Yoshina Nara had went for the finals to watch her compete. On their way back from the exams they found me on my way out between towns. Sume decided to have a little celebration for Hana becoming a Chunin and they had a fox hunt." Naruto covered his mouth and said, "Hana triplets and Sume companion all hunted me down. They caught me and pinned me to the ground with their teeth. I don't know what is worse, being held down by dogs or having your body used against you. Hana was first. Sume wanted to make her a woman in body as well as title is what she said, then Sume and finally Yoshina. It was that event that made me realize that in this world the only thing people care about is power and respect. I vowed to never be powerless again and I would become respected. It was that day I decided to honor the final request of the original Cobra commander and show them the power of the Cobra. Kurenai tightened his grip and said, I can't believe it. I remember Hana coming back from that exam. I remember hearing Hana brag about her gift from her mom to celebrate making it to Chunin, and I was a little envious of her. With a swift turn, Naruto embraced Kurenai and muttered, Shush, let it go. Kurenai replied, Let it go. Let it go, that bitch raped my little brother, how can I just let it go? Naruto replied, Because I told you to let it go because I plan to get revenge myself. Kurenai murmured, but, with a frown Naruto glanced at her and responded, No Kurenai, you may be older than me but I am your boss, you joined Cobra and I am the leader of Cobra, so I am your boss, you will listen to me on this. Now it only happened that one time, so with as many people hating me I think I got off lucky, that was all, Naruto said, as Kurenai pursed her lips. But now we got to decide what to do about us. Kurenai inquired, What do you mean? Naruto replied, I mean we have to be careful. You don't know who you can trust and who you can't anymore. The Sandame had your memories erased. If he found out that you knew about me, then what do you think he will do? At best I am seen as a weapon and worse as some kind of monster. I have to be careful to show that I am not a threat to these people until I am ready to reveal Cobra to the world. If people found out about yours and my relationship, whatever it is, they will either use you to hurt me or me against you. We can't give these people that kind of leverage. They already showed they have no problem hurting others to get what they want. I won't have you hurt like mom was. Biting her lip, Kurenai uttered the words, I don't like it. Naruto replied, Neither do I. At best I am a solid genin to Chunin right now. All we can do is wait, watch, and prepare. With a sigh, Kurenai said, Fine, as Naruto put it, good, so what are we exactly? Kurenai replied, You really had to ask that, didn't you? I don't know. Do you want Anko to know about us? Asked Naruto. Kurenai questioned, Do you trust her? Naruto replied, She's one of my generals and I placed you under her care, so yeah. Kurenai replied, Hey, I'm not a defenseless damsel in distress. Naruto laughed and replied, Oh, I know that, but if my plans for you are to work, then we can't have people knowing you are as valuable as you are. Baroness. Blinking, Kurenai said, Baroness, it's your Cobra name. I give one to each of the members of my command staff, Naruto said, nodding. According to Kurenai, I'm in your command staff. Nodding, Naruto replied, Yes, after today's events with Anko and the council I will have a general meeting and you will meet the other members of my command staff. I leave the choice of our relationship in your hands and I support whatever you decide, but for now I think we got time to help each other wash up before you will need to meet Anko and Danzo for the council meeting. Kurenai looks at the clock, then notices Naruto's smirk and says, I'm screwed. Naruto replied, Only if you chose to be. I won't force you into anything. I guess someone's got to take care of you, you dirty boy. Kurenai glared at him and took his hand as she stood up and they headed for the restroom. When Naruto cleaned Kurenai, he shot her, causing her to faint as he triggered the nanites within her. When she awoke, she discovered that she was alone in her apartment and thought, Oh, he is so dead. When Kurenai approached Anko outside the council chambers at 10:40, Anko exclaimed, Finally, where the hell have you been, Kurenai? Kurenai replied, I'll tell you later, Anko. You will have to sit down for some of it and others, well, it's a secret. With a worried tone, Anko asked, Are you alright, Nia? Kurenai replied, Yes, no, maybe, I don't know, let's wait to talk later after this because we need to stay focused for this. When the Sandame Hokage approached, he said, For what, Kurenai? Oh, Kurenai said, Hokage-sama, Anko replied, You will find out shortly, sir. We're not sure all the details ourselves about why we are here, but what we do I think would be best if you heard from the council instead of us. When the Sandame opened the door and saw that every council member had already shown up, he said, I see, very well. Now would someone explain why this meeting was called and why two of my kunoichi are standing outside? The Sandame said as he sat down. Danzo replied, That's because I called the meeting and requested them here, Sarutobi. When every eye was on Danzo, Sarutobi questioned, What is this about, Danzo? Danzo got up to say, This is painful for me to do, so please do not ask any questions until I am done. For the past few months I am sure some of you have noticed a change in my actions and beliefs. The reason for this is I was informed by my person doctor that I am dying. At this, a number of eyes widened, and Sarutobi asked, Are you sure, Danzo? Danzo replied, Yes, in fact I won't last much longer as my health is getting worse every day, which is why I have decided to go out with my dignity and honor intact now. Since my untimely death is going to affect Konoha, I have taken certain precautions to ensure that the village will become even stronger after my death. The first of these precautions is dealing with my root ninja, leading to murmurs throughout the room. Danzo realized that nobody was going to interrupt him and said, now there are several things that could have been done with these ninja. They could have been incorporated into the regular Anbu, but with the history of what they have done to protect Konoha from the shadows both with and without Sarutobi permission, I can see that incorporating them into the regular Anbu would do nothing but cause trouble. It is for this reason that I have spoken with Sasuke Uchiha, and he has agreed to allow the Uchiha police force to be started back up again, and Root will take up the position of the police. This will not only provide protection for the village, making it safer, but also relieve the Anbu and other ninja who are currently acting as security so that they may be used elsewhere. Sarutobi responded, not that I am not intrigued with this ideal, Danzo. I do see several problems with it that must be addressed. After hearing murmurs once more, Danzo replied, let me guess, who controls these men, their identities that I have hidden from you, as well as the chain of command, right? According to Sarutobi, yes, among a few others. Danzo stated, Sarutobi, I won't be living past today. I already have a chosen second getting preparations for my death right now. You have more to worry about, since no matter what you say or do, my final orders have already been given and I have no way of stopping them, nor does my chosen successor, even though she doesn't even know what they are going to do. When I die today, all my sins will die with me. What have you done? Sarutobi scowled. Danzo stated, even the tallest of trees sometimes has to have dead or infected branches cut off to ensure the survival of the tree. I have some of my root going on a final suicide mission to take care of a few things that will never be connected back to Konoha, as those men will die after they carry out their mission. The rest are the ones who I feel would be most useful to Konoha as police officers. Sarutobi scowled and remarked, and you still haven't told who is in charge of the police force. Grinning, Danzo said, you may come in. Everyone turned to watch Anko and Kurenai enter as the door opened. A civilian exclaimed, what the hell is that snake whore doing here? As a number of people started to comprehend. Everyone who turned to see where the wood came from was shocked when the civilian was slammed into a wall by a Danzo was the source, and he said, I assume I have everyone's attention now, good, before stopping the wood and releasing the council member. Danzo said, now I am sure you are all wondering how I could have just done that. The answer is simple. After the Yondaime sealed the Kyuubi into his own son, I. Silence, that's right. Naruto Uzumaki is the son of Minato Namikaze. All you have to do is look at a picture of the two and you can see the genetic similarities. Now, as I was saying, after the Yondaime sealed the Kyuubi into his son, several people nearly caused the Kyuubi to be released by attempting to assassinate the boy. That's right, idiots. Those assassins you sent after him would have resulted in the Kyuubi being released at nearly full strength. The longer Uzumaki lives, the weaker Kyuubi becomes until it is released again after his death. The seal Minato used to try and kill the Kyuubi when Uzumaki dies was experimental and done in a hurry, so we can pray it works, but I can't have faith in an experimental seal. Since the people of this village put all of us at risk by trying to kill the boy, I made a decision to try and have the Mokuton bloodline that is able to control the Kyuubi recreated. Now I know the story about the Uchiha clan being able to control the Kyuubi, but at the time there were rumors that the Uchiha clan summoned the Kyuubi against Konoha, so we could not be sure that they would save us or use it to enslave the village, which is why they were ordered by the Sandaime away from the regular part of the village under the disguise of making room for all the victims who lost their homes in the Kyuubi attack. Danzo took a breath and said, now since we needed to protect Konoha in case some of you fools, and I do mean some of the members of this council, since I know about several assassins you hired to kill the boy, I approached Orochimaru, who was still loyal to the village at the time, and he agreed with my precaution, and I funded his experiments in recreating the Mokuton bloodline, which brought about 2 successful experiments. One is an Anbu the Sandaime has under his control, and the other is this arm. Both would be able to help protect Konoha if the Kyuubi was released. If you notice, Sarutobi hasn't said anything because he approved of the project. He authorized the use of prisoners for the project and had no idea that Orochimaru had experimented on children or Konoha villagers, just as I didn't. Now you all are blaming Anko here because she aided him in his research and left the village with him. Well, he was her superior and she had been informed of the project by both Sarutobi and myself, so how was she to know that he had went rogue? She couldn't have, and was under the impression that she was still following orders. After Orochimaru abandoned her, giving her the curse seal, she was brought back here, and since we couldn't take the risk that someone would discover the secret of successfully recreating the Mokuton bloodline from her, we had her memories either sealed away or erased, which is why she can't remember what all she done with Orochimaru. That is why Sarutobi has claimed she has still been a loyal ninja all these years. Danzo noticed that a few individuals were scowling and, now as for the curse seal. I came across someone who has discovered a way to remove the curse seal whose identity will remain a secret, but as you all can see, Anko curse seal along with the other seals that were placed on her have been removed, and no other seal can ever be placed on her again because of the way the seal was removed. Anko doesn't have the details on how it was removed as she had been knocked out. Now, because of all the years of Anko loyal service to Konoha, I have chosen her to take over the police force of Konoha as well as my seat on the council. There were a few yells, but the majority were, "The snake whore," or, "What, you can't be serious." She yelled, "You fucking assholes, I'm still a virgin." That silenced everyone in the room, and Anko put her hand to her face and said, "Why the hell didn't I take the other option?" Sarutobi inquired, "What other option?" With a scroll in hand, Danzo commanded, "Anko, catch." Anko took the scroll and Danzo replied, "Inside that is the official papers giving you complete control of the police force as well as the arrest or execution orders signed by the Fire Lord himself for 210 criminals here in Konoha, including several members of this council, and the police force are at your command." Everyone's eyes shifted to Danzo at this point, followed by Anko, who smirked bloodily as she took out the scroll and yelled, "OFFICERS. By order of the Fire Lord, the following members will be arrested and taken to the maximum security prison," Anko said as she called out 5 names before adding, "Sume Inuzuka." Suddenly, 25 figures wearing black robes and wearing the kanji Konoha police mask entered the room. Sume let out a cry of, "What? Why am I under arrest?" Anko looked up and said, "According to this, you, your daughter Hana and Yoshina Nara are all 3 under arrest for sexual assault on a child." With a widening of her eyes, Sume yelled, "What? Who?" "Be careful what you say about my wife Anko," Shikaku advised. Danzo grumbles and responds, "You should be more careful who you threaten, Shikaku, since the information on this came from me and Anko only reading the report. She doesn't know who it was, but I do. Your wife as well as the 2 Inuzuka were returning from the Chunin exams where Hana Inuzuka got her promotion to Chunin. You should remember they came back from that trip all excited and said they celebrated on the way back, which is why they were an entire day late coming home. Yoshina used her shadows and the Inuzuka used all 4 of their companions to have their way with a child they found in the woods. I never knew your wife had a yellow rose tattoo on her inner thigh." Shikaku, Inoichi and Shuza deflected Shikaku's lunge at Danzo. Sume replied, "How did you find out about that? Did he tell you? If so, I'll slap." Anko blinked as she turned slightly to face Kurenai, who had her fist clenched and was leaking blood on the floor, her head bowed slightly, and her other hand still on Sume's face. Everyone's eyes widened as they looked at Sume and Kurenai, who was now beside her. Kurenai replied, "Anko, Sume has just basically confessed to her crimes. Please get he out of my sight because I can't stand to think of a woman I once respected would do that to a child." When Sume smelled something, she blinked and glared at Kurenai, saying, "Here you are yelling about what I did to him when I can smell his scent on you as well." Kurenai said, "Danzo, care to explain whose scent is really on me and why?" while holding a kunai at Sume's neck. Danzo stated, "The scent Sume smelled is in fact the scent of Naruto Uzumaki. The reason his scent is on her is because when I informed Anko that she was replacing me, Anko made a request that Kurenai be her assistant to help handle the police if she was not available or the council if she was busy with duties elsewhere. As such, when my men returned Uzumaki to the village last night, I had Kurenai here stand guard over him since he was completely defenseless after having the Kyuubi removed from him." Everyone's gazes shifted to Danzo at this point, with the exception of Kurenai, and Sarutobi exclaimed, "What the hell do you mean removing the Kyuubi?" Danzo replied, "Simple, with the Uchiha clan being gone except for 2 members and only one who has the Sharingan is a missing nin. Actually then there is no way that the Uchiha could protect Konoha should the Kyuubi escape. Also with my death and the Anbu you have doing missions that he could die on means that the threat of the Kyuubi would be even greater. So since the people of Konoha have shown their stupidity so much as not being able to see that Uzumaki had been protecting them all these years and tried to actually release the Kyuubi, I took drastic measures and had the Kyuubi put somewhere else that the secret location of will die with me." "But how is Naruto alive then?" inquired Sarutobi. Danzo said, "Kushina Uzumaki, his mother, after members of this council sent an assassin to kill her when she was taking care of him after his birth, she was poisoned and slipped into a coma. I had her hidden away so that when she woke up she could protect him and possibly be used as insurance should the boy hate Konoha. I allowed him to meet her after informing him of the Kyuubi as well as his father and brought her out of the coma she was in. She then performed a kinjutsu to remove the Kyuubi and seal it away at the price of her life, giving her son a chance at a better life. Now what do you think a person who has been mentally, physically, and sexually abused by the people of this village, who finds out that his mother has been basically assassinated by the people of this village, that learns spat on his father's final request to the people he saved, has no friends or family left in this village since you have all went out of your way to isolate him, would do, especially when his entire family inheritance has been handed over to him, including his father's jutsu and work after witnessing his only family's death? The majority of the council went pale at this point, and Sarutobi remarked, "But he does have a family left in this village, Danzo, and you know it." Danzo replied, "True, but you went out of your way to separate them by not only erasing all memories of him or his mother from that person's life, where they could be in the same room with him for days and never know they are related, so how can you use that person to persuade him not to want revenge on the people of Konoha when both him and that person has no knowledge of the other?" After glancing at Kurenai for a moment, Sarutobi scowled and asked, "Why did you turn him against the village, Danzo?" Danzo stated, "He wasn't the only one. I told Sasuke the truth about the Uchiha massacre as well." A number of people received curious looks at this point, with Hamaru, Kaharu, and Sarutobi going pale and saying, "You didn't." Danzo replied, "I did. Sasuke now knows that Kaharu, Hamaru, you, and me ordered the Uchiha extermination." There were multiple gasps at this point, and Hiyashi questioned, "What are you saying, Danzo?" Danzo stated, "The Uchiha clan got sick and tired of Konoha treating them like a plague because one of their ancestors summoned the Kyuubi, or the fact we had them separated from the rest of the village. They were going to leave Konoha, so when our spy, Itachi, learned of this and told us, we ordered him to kill all the Uchiha, but he spared his brother and became a missing nin in order to force us to keep Sasuke alive to reproduce the Sharingan." Glancing at Sarutobi, Hiyashi scowled, and Danzo remarked, "Get that look off your face, Hiyashi, because I told Hinata the truth as well." Turning, Hiyashi questioned, "What truth?" Danzo disclosed, "The truth that your wife Hitomi had made an agreement with the Sandaime here to give Kumo the Hyuga bloodline. I told her that her kidnapping was just a cover to get her to Kumo so that when her little sister Hanabi was born she wouldn't have the cage bird seal placed on her. I told her that you found out about this, and since Hitomi was with child you couldn't kill her at the time, but once she had the child you killed your own wife for betraying the clan, which resulted in your brother's death. Don't be glaring at me. You should be more worried about where those 3 children are now," Hiyashi said, glaring at Danzo. "Where are they, Danzo?" said Sarutobi as he got to his feet. Danzo replied, "Gone. Remember those men I told you were gone on a suicide mission? They're to train those 3 over the next few years until one or all 3 decide to come back to get revenge on Konoha." As multiple Anbu emerged, Sarutobi uttered the word, "Anbu." According to Sarutobi, "I want Danzo here taken to Ibiki immediately." Danzo started laughing and replied, "If I was here, Sarutobi, I'm not, though. Hell, I might already be dead in my home. All that is left is for me to explain why I did this, and if I am already dead then the answer will die with me. Your choice." "Why did you do this?" inquired Hamaru. Danzo said, "With more and more time of peace the number of combat skilled ninja in our ranks goes down. The hidden village often hire mercenaries to give our ninja combat skills. One such group is the group that Itachi Uchiha currently is a member of, called Akatsuki, who from my sources say that the Tsuchikage uses to test his ninja against. If they survive an encounter with a member of this group then they are put in a list of those who would be used if war erupted, if not then they died. Mizu does the same thing, but instead of hiring mercenaries they have their ninja fight against bloodlines to give them the training to attack and defend in the event of war. Suna, who has been forced to cut back on their numbers, has set the practice of sending men against their Jinchuriki, who I am told has already killed 137 of their ninja. Anyone who fails a mission gets put on a list that would force them to eventually face their secret weapon. Kumo, who has 2 Jinchuriki, is similar in that regard but has not been cutting back on their military presence but has been increasing it while the others haven't. That was why Sarutobi was willing to give Hinata to Kumo, because we were to receive the Jinchuriki of the Nibi in exchange for her to give Konoha another tool to be used. I decided my final act to defend Konoha was to use the enemies we created ourselves against us to strengthen our ninja skills in the event of war. By having our ninja constantly on alert for someone who can see them from miles away, has more chakra than the Hokage, and has eyes that can see through genjutsu and copy all their jutsu, would force them to get stronger. These men I gave to Konoha to become the police have only been en route less than 2 years and mostly have been training. I can die knowing I have protected this village the best I can, as well as secure it from enemies. Goodbye," as his disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Before an explosion echoed across town, Sarutobi scowled. She said, "Go, find the cause of the explosion and help any injured." The police swiftly departed, leaving behind the officers who had detained the council member. Turning to face them, Anko commanded, "Take away the prisoners," and Kurenai, you can take Sume. Kurenai grabbed Sume while the blade was still at her neck and started to walk away, saying, "Yes, Anko." Kurenai whispered, "This is for my brother." As she slid the kunai across Sume's neck after they had been a few blocks away, her eyes briefly widened as the words registered, and then she started to gasp for air as blood poured from her neck. After a few moments of staring down at Sume, Kurenai felt someone behind her and turned to see Anko staring at her anxiously. Then she approached Sume and said, "She's dead, what's going on, Nia?" According to Kurenai, "Naruto, he's my brother." Then, Anko asked, her eyes widening as the meeting's words returned to her. "Yeah," Kurenai replied, "I watched Mom die last night." Anko put her hand on Kurenai's shoulder, but it became tense when the two women were suddenly encircled by Anbu and the Sandame showed up on a roof, declaring, "You are both under arrest." As everyone turned to see the Cobra commander standing on a roof with Arashi and Danzo standing next to him, a voice said, "I don't think so." "Who are you?" asked the Sandame. CC responded, "I am Cobra Commander Baroness, Serpenter come." After Kurenai and Anko leapt onto the building, the Sandame exclaimed, "So you have both betrayed us." As he pulled out a needle and stabbed Danzo, CC said, "No, you have betrayed us, behold the power of the Cobra." Danzo screamed as metal started to form a mask over his face and he said, "From this day forward Danzo is dead and you are now Destro." With a little bow, Destro uttered, "I understand, Cobra Commander." A smoke bomb detonated, and all of the figures on the roof vanished as CC uttered, "Know this, Hokage-sama. Your sins are the venom of a cobra and our bite shall end your existence." They were back in the Hokage Monument's underground base when they appeared, and CC turned to glare at Kurenai before removing his helmet and throwing it across the room. "You just ruined 2 years of planning when you attacked Sume back there in the council chamber. I told you to leave them alone," he said. According to Kurenai, "And I refuse to sit back and let those who hurt my family get away with it any longer, Naruto." When Naruto noticed Arashi staring at him, he rubbed his hands through his hair and exclaimed, "What? Now what are we going to do?" asked Arashi. Naruto breathed deeply and said, "Sorry about ruining your new reputation in the village Anko. When Nia attacked Sume, it caused enough suspicion for the Sandame and the elders to know of our connection and I was forced to send a message to Danzo to change our plans. Was Mindbender able to get Hinata?" as he glanced at Arashi. Arashi replied, "Yes, I received word both are on their way to the other base. What of Tomax and Zaymont?" Naruto replied, "Leave them for now, they will continue their work in studying medicine here to become our chief medics." Destro. According to Destro, "Yes, Commander," Naruto said, "It's time we put all those fucking years of being a backstabbing traitor and asshole to use. You are now in charge of research and development outside of the nanite technology. I want you to use your connections and track down any weapons or armor that we can mass produce or tool to aid us go." Naruto remarked, "Once we control the world, all 4 of us are going to kill that bastard," as Destro nods and rushes off. Anko replied, "All right, that's it. Will someone explain to me what the fuck is going on?" Arashi shushed away, saying, "Shit, Mindbender and Hinata are in trouble." Sighing, Naruto said, "Anybody for sake?" Cursing, Kurenai uttered, "Yeah, me. Why the hell am I so horny?" Naruto said, "Because you're a submissive bitch who's getting off on my powerful presence," and Anko sputtered. After glancing at Naruto and Kurenai, Anko remarked, "I think I need a drink also. The world makes more sense then." Arashi, Ino, and Hinata entered the dining room an hour later to find Anko, Naruto, and Kurenai drinking. Anko remarked, "Well, that's some fucked up shit, Nia, and brings a whole new definition of sibling bonding." "Say, Kurenai, tell me about it." Looking up, Anko exclaimed, "Holy shit, Inoichi daughter in on this also." Naruto replied, "Allow me to introduce you to Mindbender report." Arashi stated, "The Sandame has put the village in lockdown. Nobody's getting in or out until order can be called. He's also sent the entire Anbu Corps in the village to the Uchiha district and found the underground base there. The Anbu lost around 75 member and we lost 36 Cobras. I activated the nanite bomb and destroyed the base and the entire Uchiha district, so they won't be able to find anything, and all the Cobras who died dissolved into nothing thanks to the nanites in them, so they are mostly going to be doing recovery of all the people who were caught in the nanite bomb." Nodding, Naruto uttered, "And Hinata here?" Arashi replied, "I've talked to her and explained the entire truth and she has agreed and already received her nanites." Naruto nods and continues, "Then we will proceed as planned. Serpenter, you are officially the leader of our Cobra Commandos. I expect you to work on training everyone. You will only answer to me and you will be equal in rank to Arashi here. Arashi, reveal yourself." Naruto said, Sasuke is my enforcer and bodyguard. Ino is mindbender. She will be our torture and interrogation expert, so if you wouldn't mind helping her to improve it would be appreciated. Anko. Arashi took off his mask to reveal Sasuke. Anko replied, sure. Konoha treated me like shit. I doubted you until the council meeting, but I see you're the real deal. I have nothing in Konoha I care about, and the only true friend I have is Nia here. Now Kurenai here is my sister. She is also my lover, Naruto said, nodding. Everyone's eyes widened, with the exception of Kurenai, Anko, and Naruto, and Sasuke remarked, same as my clan. Nodding, Hinata added, mine as well. Nodding, Naruto continued, well, Nia codename is Baroness. She will be your assistant. Anko. Her primary objective is organization of the command group. She will know what each of our groups are doing, so if any of us need to contact another group we are separated from or need to work together with, she will be the one responsible for organizing that. If something happens to me, then she will be also the one who will take over as leader. Sasuke, in that case your duties will switch from me to her. Does everyone understand? What about me? Hinata thought. Naruto stated, your codename will be Zartan. You will be our spy master. With your bloodline you can spy on enemies without them knowing. For now, though we are all too weak to do much, Konoha will be in an uproar and try to keep what has happened a secret and will be on the lookout for us. We can stay here for the next month or so and let the heat pass by. Once it does, we will have a better idea of where to go. Any question? Everyone laughed when Sasuke said, yeah, does his stamina go to the bedroom also? Naruto grinned and said, smart ass. 3 months later, time has passed. Naruto was gasping for air as he slowly straightened up while observing the nearby figures on the ground. Train more, go, he said. Well done, Naru. That was 16 cobras you just took on and defeated, Kurenai said as the figures hastily rose and left the room they were in. Naruto murmured, but they were limited to the basic 3 ninjutsu, taijutsu, kenjutsu, and genjutsu. I nearly lost several times. If they used more of the regular jutsu I might have lost. Kurenai replied, true, but like Anko said, knowing a jutsu and mastering a jutsu are 2 different things. She's taken all our cobras back to basics, forcing them to use the basic 3 ninjutsu, taijutsu, kenjutsu, and genjutsu, and you have to admit it's pretty good. Yeah, makes them able to last longer in fights and survive them better. So what are you here for? Naruto said after taking a deep breath. Can't I see you whenever I want? Asked Kurenai. Naruto replied, yeah, but you also hate seeing me get hurt, and when I train I get hurt a lot. A towel and a bottle of water were offered by Kurenai, who pouted and said, well, I care for you anyways. Destro sent a message. He's got something finally and should have arrived a few minutes ago. As they started to leave the room, Naruto took them and asked, so how are everyone else doing? According to Kurenai, each of us have been getting stronger. Anko taking out 40 cobras at a time now, and Sasuke is up to 25. Hinata and Ino are both at 10 though. According to Naruto, and you, after biting her lip, Kurenai remarked, 13. Hey, I was a genjutsu type. I'm having to play catch up with ninjutsu and taijutsu. Naruto replied, I'm proud of you also, so don't get defensive. I actually feel sorry for the commandos though. Yeah, we're not making it easy on them, Kurenai said, biting her lip. Naruto replied, no, but then our enemies won't either. Anything else besides Destro? Kurenai responded, well, there is 2 things I looked up. That group Danzo mentioned that Itachi is a member of. For Sasuke, I haven't learned much, but from our spies I've gotten word that Jiraiya of the Sanins is looking into them as well as looking for you and Cobra. Naruto looked at him and said, Danzo told me Akatsuki was composed of S-rank missing nins and Itachi was a member along with Orochimaru. That's all I know about them. Kurenai sighed and replied, well, I was thinking maybe we might be able to exchange information with Jiraiya through one of our spies. Swiftly replied, no, at least not yet. We have 2 bases right now, this one and the one Destro has been using to do his operations. While we are getting stronger we can't risk it. Jiraiya is a Sannin. Besides, I'll probably kill him when I see him. He was supposed to be my godfather and he abandoned me, you and mom, while staring down at the ground. Putting a hand on his shoulder, Kurenai remarked, I miss her also. Then Kurenai was leaning against the wall and Naruto was kissing her. They broke up after a few minutes of kissing, panting, and Naruto whispered, I promise you I will never let anything take our family away. I love you. Whispering, Kurenai said, and I'll be by your side always. She put her arms around Naruto, who laid his head on her shoulder. They entered the command room a short time later, where Hinata, Ino, Sasuke, and Destro were already present. They sat down at the table, and Naruto uttered the words, report Destro. With a clap of his hands, Destro declared, I think I have discovered something that will greatly please you. Cobra Commander, I present to you, Cobra Armor. Destro stated, I got this from Snow Country. The ninja there called the original version of this snow armor, and it makes it where no ninjutsu or genjutsu can be used against the person wearing this because the armor absorbs the chakra from the attack and puts up a shield to protect them. Two figures emerged through a side door wearing black bodysuits with metal against them and a glowing jewel on the chest area with a red cobra painted on it. You said the original version. What is different from this and that? Naruto said, placing his hands in front of him. Destro continued, because while I was there I was able to find blueprints to several other things that would be valuable. If you will look at the wrist guards on both arms the cobras have, you will see that they're not actually wrist guards but weapon launchers. The one on the right launches kunais while the one on the left launches shurikens. Each hold 50 each and are fired by jerking your hand downward as such. When he jerked his hand down it caused his thumb and pinky to contact one another. Naruto replied, I assume there are wires connected to the thumb and pinky that causes it to fire. Destro continued, close. There is actually a small storage seal in the glove on the pinky that holds electricity in it that when the fingers touch send an electrical pulse to the guard that fires them, so no matter what kind of combat they're in the weapon can't be fired on accident. Naruto uttered the words, and what else? According to Destro, these suits also have chainmail built into them. While it will take some time to get used to the weight, it will reduce or block most kenjutsu or taijutsu damage. With a nod, Naruto inquired, as that is, Destro continued, I found a prototype glider pack that they had acquired from the hidden air village that allows them to fly. While I have yet to actually work on it, I am confident that we will be able to have the ability to launch attacks from the air, especially with the blueprints for the airship and generators that I found while there. According to Naruto, that did I see, comments anyone. Said, while I like the idea of some of the armor he has come up with, I think we should work on modifying it because if we run into people like Meta Guy then he could take out most of our men with his extreme speed and strength. Poison and water battles are also two things we need to worry about. Naruto replied, I agree. The way I see it, we can have 4 different type of cobras. Anko personal group is already called the Vipers. Like a viper, I want them to work on being swift and deadly. Sasuke, your group is going to be the backbone of the Cobra. They will be the general commandos. They will be a group who can take a lot of damage and deal it out. Destro, you will get Sasuke group the armor you have displayed here while finding a more lightweight armor for the Vipers. What about the other 2 types you mentioned? Asked Kurenai. Naruto was saying, Destro, you will find out how other villages deal with airborne poisons, and if they have some kind of special armor to protect them I want you to get it, as well as any armor that allows someone to fight underwater. I like the idea of having air and sea serpents, but I want our commandos and vipers equipped before you begin them. Do you understand? Yes, but what about the airship? Said Destro. As Destro collapsed to the ground, he started to scream in agony, and Naruto yelled, where the fuck would we put it right now? Now go. Well, you made my day. Anko grinned as Destro crawled out of the room. As Naruto put it, I feel better. Taking his hand, Kurenai stood up and remarked, not as good as you will be in a little bit. You're all dismissed, said Naruto with a sly smile. Kurenai smirked as she escorted Naruto out of the room as everyone was departing, and Anko looked at her. When they arrived at Naruto's room, Kurenai started kissing him while removing his shirt. Seeing you take command like that is so, she said, breaking the kiss to remove it. For Naruto, it was exciting. Nodding, Kurenai swiftly removes her shirt, and Naruto raises an eyebrow as she does the same with the rest of her clothing. Naruto frowns and asks, what's going on? As he stops her when she approaches. Innocently, Kurenai inquired, what do you mean, Naru? Naruto gave her a commanding look that made her answer, saying, you're hurrying to take off your clothes when usually you let me take them off like a present, and you're trying to direct me to the bed instead of letting me lead us there. What's going on, Nia? Naruto raised his eyebrows when Kurenai walked to the door and opened it, sulking and saying, damn, I have a surprise for you. Anko was standing there. According to Kurenai, come on in, Anko. Kurenai closed the door behind her, and Naruto glanced at both and said, explain. Anko swallowed lightly before entering. Kurenai murmured, Anko is like a sister to me. She helped me more times than I can count and even saved my life and my virginity a few times, but she doesn't have anyone she can trust to be with like this. I talked her into joining us, you know. Keep it in the family, sort of. Naruto stated, I see Sasuke as a sort of brother, but I'd kill him if he ever even thought of looking at you this way. As Anko put it, I told you this was a bad idea, Nia. Naruto replied, now I didn't say no, Anko, so hold your place. Are you sure about this, Nia? I'm very possessive of those I get close to, and I'll have to give Anko equal attention as I give you. Are you sure you want that? Then Naruto looks at Kurenai and says, you heard me say I am possessive, Anko. If we go past this point there is no going back. Making love to you is like marrying you in my eyes. If you want this, then you will never be able to be with another man because I'll destroy them, and possibly you because I've been betrayed too many times. I am also very dominant. I vowed after that time with those three that I would never be weak again, and that is in everything I do. I won't force you to do things, but I will give commands that I want obeyed, but the choice is ultimately yours. Anko puckered up and said, I've been called the snake whore since I was 14, treated like shit, and the only guys who look at me are looking for a quickie or bragging rights. Odds are that reputation will hang around my neck for life. When Nia offered me this chance I at first refused, but she kept on talking to me about it, and I have to admit actually having someone to care for me sounds good, and I'm tired of always having to be the badass bitch to protect myself. Very well, Nia. It seems Anko here is overdressed for the occasion. Would you be so kind as to help her get more comfortable? Naruto said, glancing at both women. When Kurenai removed Anko's coat and Anko reached to remove her shirt, Naruto said, No, Anko, you may assist Kurenai by raising your arms, but since this is your first time you need a guide to help you. Both Kurenai and Anko's eyes widened and became a little excited. Kurenai pulled Anko's shirt over her head and tossed it to the ground as she released it. Naruto then moved forward, placed his hand on Anko's face, and remarked, Not bad, but I haven't made a complete inspection yet. Would you be a dear Nia and warm up her front for me? As Naruto reached for Anko's shorts and pulled them off as he went down to his knees, Kurenai grinned, reached her hands around, and began massaging Anko's breast. Naruto then began to tisk and uttered the words, For shame, a lovely woman like you hiding such undergrowth. He hates pubes because Sume and Yoshina were very hairy and those whisker scars on his face are sensitive. Kurenai whispered in Anko's ear as she bit her lip in response to her blink. As he got to his feet, Naruto declared, I must insist, Nia, that you help Anko clean up for a proper inspection. Kurenai led Anko to the restroom and shut the door after saying, Yes, Naru. Holy shit, you completely bare hell, you don't even have stubbles, Anko said, his eyes widening as Kurenai pointed down at them once they were inside. Kurenai continued, Wax, it was a small price to pay for him after I learned about what happened. I didn't know if you trimmed or not, and I didn't know if he would be okay if it was. Sorry for not mentioning it earlier, but he does pay us back for this small amount of pain and headache today. We either need to shave or wax. If you want to continue, it's your choice. How long will waxing take, and does it hurt as bad as it does the legs? Anko asked, biting her lip. According to Kurenai, a few minutes and worse, but it's well worth it. With a scowl, Anko said, All right, wax me. When both ladies returned, Naruto was already waiting in the room. After taking off his clothes, Anko was limping a little, so Naruto gestured to the bed and said, Lie on your stomach, Anko. After Anko bit her lip, Naruto got on the back of her legs, said, Relax. He then took out a bottle of lotion and started massaging Anko's back. Kurenai sat on the side and watched as Naruto did Anko's entire backside before saying, All right. Flip. As he got up, Anko groaned as she felt the massage and the chakra Naruto was using. After Anko finished, Naruto started massaging her front as well, focusing especially on her breast. This is coconut milk extract I am rubbing you with, Anko, no oils and safe to eat or drink, Naruto said. When Anko groaned, Naruto shifted his head between Anko's legs and started licking her pussy, saying, But all this rubbing is making me thirsty. When Anko tried to buck, her eyes widened in shock. Naruto looked at Kurenai and made a gesture with his eyes, and Kurenai came over to kiss Anko as she started to play with her breast. Both Kurenai and Naruto pleased Anko, who was in a state of pure ecstasy. Anko was panting before she passed out after experiencing 3 orgasms, one from Naruto's tongue, one from his fingers, and one from both at once. I think you could help me, I'm still thirsty, Naruto said, turning to face Kurenai. Kurenai promptly collapsed onto the bed, and Naruto started to appease her as well. The movement on the bed roused Anko, who turned to see Kurenai withering with pleasure. She then turned to face Naruto, who had his member before her eyes widened slightly and a smirk appeared on her face. When Naruto felt a thrill between his legs, he stopped trying to please Kurenai and noticed that Anko was licking him. He then spoke to Kurenai again, saying, I have one rule about anyone under me, be sure to finish what you start and never leave a mess. You got me? Anko's eyes widened briefly before she resumed her work. Naruto slammed his load down Anko's throat after Kurenai's subsequent orgasm, saying, It's time, Anko, are you sure you're ready for this? When Anko climbed onto the bed, Naruto said, Lay on your back, all right. He then wet her with his fingers and poured some of her fluids onto his shaft. Naruto glanced at Anko and, after receiving a nod, entered her slowly before swiftly thrusting forward and pulling back. Naruto and Kurenai both kissed and held Anko after she gasped and a tear fell. Naruto started to slowly move back and forth after a few minutes, and Anko soon had 2 more orgasms and passed out. Naruto replied, "She should be out for a few hours now. I seem to be pretty dirty, could you help me wash up?" Kurenai nods, and the two of them head to the bathroom to shower. In the shower, Kurenai whispered, "That was nice of you to focus on her like that." They were kissing. Naruto stated, "I told you I won't favor one over the other and I intend to keep my word, and I wanted her first to be special like yours was. I could have done more with her, but she wasn't ready for more than that." Naruto turned to look behind him and saw a smirking Anko when he heard a voice ask, "Are you sure about that?" "What do I know, I'm a guy and we never can figure women out." Naruto shrugged as he drew her in close and the three of them started cleaning each other. When Naruto entered the training room the following day with a limping Anko and a limping Kurenai behind him, Sasuke was waiting for him. He raised an eyebrow and remarked, "You didn't." Anko exclaimed, "How the hell did he do it?" Kurenai replied, "I don't know, I was sure the both of us together would have been enough to empty his stamina." Snorts Naruto as he says, "I'm the King Cobra for a reason. Now I got training to do. Care to join or are you going back to your duties?" Kurenai followed Anko as she hobbled off, saying, "Duties, I'm going to be sore for a few days." Sasuke uttered the words, "So," after they had left. As Naruto put it, "Just shut up and attack already." After grinning and assuming a stance, Sasuke charged Naruto, who then charged back. After 9 months, a prosperous fishing community once existed in the small nation of Wave. The nation is currently under the Gato Shipping Company's blockade. Gato was in a cage with his personal guard and another man who was gagged to prevent him from talking and tied to a wooden beam. Gato replied, "And so this is the fate of all those who stand in the way of Gato shipping." A clap was heard as Gato started to turn to his men to give orders, and then there were more, but everyone could tell that the clap was intended to be sarcastic. The person clapping was wearing a dark blue jacket with a red cobra painted on it, black gloves, a dark blue helmet mask shaped like a cobra, and black pants and a dark blue shirt. Everyone was gathered in the town square, and he was sitting on the roof of a building overlooking it. The figure was saying, "Bravo bravo Gato, your speech was so full of shit and stunk so bad it forced me to come here and destroy you personally." With narrowed eyes, Gato exclaimed, "Who the hell are you?" As he raised his right hand and gave it a single snap, the figure said, "My name is Cobra Commander and Gato. If you are going to rule by fear, this is how you do it." Both of Gato's personal bodyguards were among the 60 men whose heads suddenly exploded, splattering bone, blood, and flesh all over the clearing. At this point, some people fled in terror, while others screamed or started to throw up. "What do you want?" asked Gato, who had retreated against the cage. Stated, "From you everything. Commandos take Gato to Dr. Mindbender and have the good doctor torture him until he gives her everything of value. Then I want his body brought back and displayed on the walls of that building for all the people here to see the fate of those who defy the command of Cobra." Gato was seized by two figures who then scurried off. See, the commander stated, "Now as for you my people, I'm not here to harm you, I am here to help you. You and your country, please release your fellow villager since he is no prisoner." The man looked up and said, "Thank you, but who are you, Cobra Commander, and why are you here?" As a black-haired woman hurried to the cage and swiftly untied him. C. Commander said, "I am the leader of an organization who wishes to bring about world peace called Cobra. For years now the leaders of the world have played God and used people as nothing but pawns in their own sick twisted games. Take Gato. Do you really think he was able to get so much influence here all on his own? No, he was actually asked by the Wave Lord to come here and tax you all. The reason is because your lord is tired of being seen as a minor lord over fishermen. He wanted to turn Wave into the world's largest shipping center. His idea in general was a good idea, but the way he went about it was wrong. He wanted to tax you and force you into slavery to have you become forced labor to a shipping country. Never mind the fact you would most likely have volunteered and willingly have paid a small tax or work to turn your country into something more of your own free will. He saw you as nothing more than pieces on a board to be used as he saw fit. It is this mindset that the leaders of the world have that has caused 3 great shinobi wars, the deaths of millions, family torn apart, women raped, mothers killed in front of their children who were then sold into slavery. These are just a few of the problems in the world that I plan to bring to an end. I plan to bring peace to the world and bring order to chaos by punishing the criminals where they will not be allowed to harm the innocent and protect the weak. That is why I am here. My men heard about the situation in your country and I personally went to the Wave Lord to ask him to stop this. Here is a written copy of his approval for Gato to kill anyone who stands in his way, signed by the Wave Lord," as he threw a scroll on the ground. The words, "See," shocked a lot of people. When the commander said that, a man paled and said, "It's true, it even has his signature and stamp." He then picked up the scroll and opened it. See, everyone in the square erupted when the commander said, "Yes, your life was meaningless to the man, which is why he is now dead." Tazuna questioned, "What do you mean dead?" See, commander said, "When I heard and saw what your lord was doing and why he was doing, I put a stop to it. People are not pawns to be used like that. As such, I had my men take control of the country while I killed the Wave Lord and came here to stop Gato personally. As we speak around the island, Gato men are either being arrested or executed for crimes against the people of Wave. I came here to inform you that you are now under my protection, and the first thing that is going to happen is we are going to help Wave country recover. I have my men taking control of all of Gato's shipping company, and I will use the funds and resources from that takeover to help this country recover. We will then build a bridge between Wave country and the mainland, so that way in the future no one else will ever be able to enslave the people of Wave as Gato did. The bridge will be a toll bridge where every time someone comes or goes across the bridge they will be weighed in half to pay a 2-cent tax per pound. 1 cent of that tax will go to Cobra for protection of the island, and that is the only protection payment you have to pay me, and 1 cent will be used to build hospitals for the sick, doctors to run them, schools for the children, bring in tourist, trade, businesses, recreation and other things that will make the life of those who live in Wave a better one." Another individual inquired, "What about the protection you are offering? What exactly does that mean? Because we have seen how Gato used that same word to take over." See, commander replied, "Good question. The protection will be a police force that will at first be made up of my men who will train volunteers from here, so that way you will get a hand in helping to protect your homes, families, and loved ones. This will allow me to move some of my men elsewhere to help others, while the others will stay to help with those like ninja and other criminals like those who are just too strong for regular police to handle. This will make it where mercenaries, thieves, murders, rapists, and missing ninja will stay away from here, because they will be captured and, depending on their crime, locked away for most of their life or killed so they could never hurt another person." "What do you plan to do with Gato companies?" inquired Tazuna. See, commander replied, "Another good question. Your previous lord was an idiot for not seeing the strength of his people. The answer to your question is I plan to still do some of what your previous lord did by using Gato shipping to increase trade between Wave and the other island nations. This will help their economy, which will also help your economy, where I can help those countries and have the honorable and noble leaders become allies with Cobra. Who will aid them as I am you, or if they are like your last lord, remove them and have the people elect a new lord like I plan for you to do from your own people, who will be the leader of your country to help use the 1 cent tax Wave receives to help bring in the things I promised like the school and hospital, and if a problem arises that the new leader can't handle, he will inform my men who will inform me, so I can handle the issue quickly and efficiently." Another individual replied, "And what if the other lords don't agree with you? What if they hire ninja to attack us?" See, commander said, "Here's a better question. Why haven't the ninja village come and saved you?" "Because they are not paid to, or are paid to look away. Gato was allowed to operate so long as he gave discounts on supplies to ninja villages who looked the other way. If you hire ninja to protect you, they would until you ran out of money or someone paid them not to, or to kill you. Ninja will do what is the most profitable for them. I have already started a campaign against the ninja village by hurting them where they are the weakest. In their pocketbooks 3 years ago, if you took the average of number of people who got attacked by bandits, it was 1 out of every 5. Those other 4 had 3 who paid ninja to protect them or to take out the bandits in a certain area. In the last 3 years I have made it where instead of 1 out of 5 it is 1 out of every 25. Because of Cobra taking out the mercenaries, the hidden villages haven't gotten as many mission to take care of them or to guard, since they are not needed as much. Because of this, they don't have all the money they had before to spend on resources like food, medicines, metal and supplies that they couldn't make themselves. Since they can't afford to spend as much, they have to look closely into protecting their supplies. And with Gato supplying them with at least 1/3 of the items they usually need at a discount, with him gone, they will have to order from me at full price, which weakens them more. But I will only deal with a ninja village if they form an alliance with me and pay a tribute to me. If they do, I will let them hire into the guard position that my commandos do now, so they will have to say guard you at half the price of normal mission, and will have to do it full time instead of until someone pays them more, since not only do those same things apply to them but also to other countries as well." The people of Wave started to realize the bigger picture after a few moments had passed before CC's words fully registered. "So you see, you really don't have a choice. You can either accept me as your leader or you can run away until I take over everything, and there is nothing any of you could do to stop me. Expect my men to begin carrying out my orders within 3 days. Good day," CC said as he shuffled away. "Mom, what exactly going on?" Inari asked. "I think you better get used to the idea of saying all hail Cobra Commander," Tazuna said, swallowing. When Naruto, Sasuke and Hinata returned to Cobra Base in the Hokage Monument following their encounter in Wave. Kurenai asked, "So how did it go in Wave?" Naruto, who took off his helmet, said, "It went better than anticipated." Gato had several spies working for different hidden villages working under him, and so they have been put on notice as we speak. Word is beginning to spread to other nations as well as reaching the ears of the feudal lords. How many spies did you both find? Sasuke continued, "Hinata and I discussed it and we believe there was 18 spies there in the crowd. 11 of them we know for sure were from ninja villages since Hinata was able to see fear they had hidden on them." Nodding, Naruto replied, "Good. It will take about 2 weeks for the info to be completely known. In those 2 weeks we will prepare to send a shockwave through the world." Destro, "I trust that your toys you kept bitching about are ready." "Yes, Commander, we have 10 airship built and ready for use with the nanite cannons as you instructed," Destro said as he moved forward. Naruto replied, "Good, the world will believe that we are going after the ninja villages financially until it is too late." Destro, 2 weeks from tomorrow at sunrise you shall approach Iwa from the east so that the sun will help hide your arrival. You will then use the stone nanites for 1 hour on the village. After that hour you will launch the wood nanites for an hour, and then finally you will launch the metal nanites for 1 hour. You are also to stay at 1000 feet to launch the attacks so that no weapons or jutsu will be able to hit the airship. After that you will play a recording I will give you before you head out, and then after the message has been sent you will leave Iwa and head to Suna where you will meet with me. Understand?" According to Destro, "Yes, Commander," Naruto said, "Do not test my patience, Destro. You only live because I allow it. I know your thoughts about how you will find some way to free yourself and use my nanites to take over the world. Surprised you shouldn't be, all your men who are under your command. Well, they have special nanites in them that allows them to hear your thoughts as well, and they report to me everything you plan. I know of your plans against me and the others here. I even know about your dreams about your late wife. You have no secret thoughts that do not belong to me. The only reason I do not torture you is because my plan of punishment is going to be much worse. I'm going to have you confess to Tsunade that it was you and Orochimaru who killed her brother and fiancé. Yes, I can see the fear you have at that. I want you to feel every ounce of punishment Tsunade has for you, but I'll stop her from killing you. You have years of pain and torture to endure still. Now go and make sure those airships are ready." Sasuke remarked, "You just don't want to ruin the happy mood you're in," as Destro hurried off. Naruto replied, "True. Anyways, while Destro is dealing with Iwa, Anko, you will do the same to Mizu, except don't use the wood nanites. Use the earth ones to destroy the walls of the village as well as the metal ones to destroy all metal and weapons inside the village. Once that is done you will lower down to 100 feet to where Sasuke and Kurenai will be able to shushin on board." "What are we going to be doing?" asked Kurenai. Naruto said, "You and Sasuke along with 100 commandos will go to the land of water and find a Mei Terumi. She is supposed to be the leader of the bloodline faction in the civil war they have there. You will offer her help in taking over the Hidden Mist village and ending the civil war in exchange for agreeing with a scroll I will write for you to deliver to her. If she agrees, then once Anko destroys the stone and metal of the Hidden Mist village you will join Anko and leave the land of water. If she refuses, then offer her at least a demonstration to consider a possible future ally and tell her about Cobra planned attack 2 weeks from tomorrow, but do not tell her how we plan to attack. If she refused, then after you get on board the airship you are to inform Anko she refused, where Anko will then use the wood nanites and launch it onto the forest. Before leaving this will destroy all wood within 5 miles of the point of impact, which will be the woods around the Hidden Mist village. After that you are to leave and come to Suna." "But why? I mean, what purpose would that bring?" Kurenai remarked. "The land of water is currently experiencing a bloodline civil war," and Naruto stated, "Fear. By destroying the resources the Hidden Mist has, we could do so repeatedly to any village, to anyone who stands in Cobra's way. In either case, the Hidden Mist village will most likely be gone forever. As a major one it may rebuild into a minor one, but with everything that has already happened there and to see it all taken away like that, many will just give up and want to start a life somewhere else. Iwa will react similarly, but due to their earth jutsu skills, they will be dropped to a minor village for a while, and they will be concerned about attacks from other villages." According to Sasuke, "What about you?" "I'll be dealing with Suna directly," Naruto declared. "I've been working on something for a while that I believe will make things interesting." According to Hinata and Konoha will be left alone for the time being, Naruto said with a sly smile. "We'll send you, Hinata, to handle Kumo. It will be treated similarly to Iwa." With a slight smile on her face, Hinata's eyes widened and she said, "Thank you, Commander." Naruto replied, "You're welcome. Consider it my present to you for years of service, since you won't be able to do much soon." Everyone's attention was drawn to this, and Sasuke squinted and inquired, "What do you mean?" I'm just saying her medical condition will make putting her on missions a little difficult, father, Naruto said, crossing his arms. Everyone turned to Hinata, who was wide-eyed. After a few seconds for what he was saying to fully register, she gulped and said, Naruto remarked, I believe so, to help you guard against jutsu like mindbenders and to identify when you are being influenced by someone else. I gave each of you a unique nanite. It tracks changes in your chakra, and I've been receiving a signal that you've been changing for the last 3 weeks. Although I'm not positive, I can only think of 2 options after attempting a chakra pulse to counteract any external influence on you that has been shown to be effective in mindbender jutsu and genjutsu. The first is that you are pregnant, and the second is that you have a medical condition that is preventing you from producing chakras normally. In any case, I won't put you in danger in the field after this one mission until it is known. I understand how deeply your past with Kumo has hurt you, and I believe you have the right to deal with them. However, you should take a medical leave of absence and focus on maintaining your physical and mental well-being after we all get back up in Suna. I'm going to find Tsunade and convince her to come check on you. Says Sasuke. Naruto, thank you, no problem, said Naruto. You each have your orders now, and since I know you both need to accept the possibility I told you about, please carry out your duties. As he stood up and began to walk away, he said, just make sure you follow your orders. After exchanging glances, Anko and Kurenai turned to face Hinata, who was staring with wide eyes and holding her hand in front of her stomach. Kurenai then said, Hinata, congratulations. Thank you. I'm shocked. Hinata said. But I thought we used protection said Sasuke. According to Anko, no protection is 100% Gaki. I see, Hinata, where we're going to be, said Sasuke. According to Hinata, I know Sasuke joyfully yelled, parents were going to be parents. After swiftly spinning Hinata around after picking her up. Kurenai and Anko left the room as they were celebrating, and they soon discovered Naruto typing on a keyboard in his lab. So have you thought about when you want to become a daddy? Asked Anko. As much as I would like to have kids someday, it's just not safe right now. We have 2 years before everything comes together. Naruto scowled. He turned away from them and said, I need you both too much to try and be parents right now. I can't take the chance of either of you going inactive for the next 2 years, so we can't right now. As Kurenai put it, so what is your ultimate plan? Smirking, Naruto remarked, now where would the fun be in that? You will just have to wait and see. Kurenai was unhappy and Anko responded, well, I think you're spending too much time in this lab lately. How about coming to celebrate Sasuke and Hinata new bundle of joy? Naruto paused for a moment and replied, alright, as he got up and moved to the door and turned to go to where Sasuke and Hinata were when both Kurenai and Anko put their hands on his shoulders and Kurenai said, this way. According to Naruto, but Sasuke and Hinata are this way. With Naruto's hand on her left breast, Anko remarked, they are celebrating their own way and we will celebrate in our own. Smirking, Naruto said, I guess you're right, come. As they escorted Naruto back to their room, both women grinned. 2 weeks later, as the airship took off from its covert base, Naruto stood on the bridge and uttered the words, let Operation Cobra Venom commence. The guards on the wall surrounding the village all scanned the area as the morning sun rose over the Suna desert to see if anyone or anything resembling a sandstorm was approaching. They saw an object moving toward Suna in the distance. As a result, it was only a slight ripple at first, but as it approached, the guards noticed 2 things. The first was that it was red, and the second was that it was flying over the desert. Has any of our scouts identified the approaching object? Inquired Yondaime Kazekage, who was seated in his office. No, Kazekage-sama, a chunin said, but we do know that it is moving very quickly for desert travel and should arrive in an hour. The Kazekage scowled and commanded, warn all of the village's ninja, keep them alert, but be ready if it's an enemy. Go back here and let me know as soon as you have a good view of this thing. The chunin shushined away and bowed. The same chunin returned to the Kazekage half an hour later and declared, sir, a confirmed visual of the object has been given and it will be here in 10 minutes. The Kazekage questioned, what is it already? According to the chunin, an airship shaped like a cobra. The Kazekage got up and shushed away, scowling and saying, return to your post. Just as he appeared on the village walls, he noticed the red cobra-shaped airship ascending farther into the sky. Suddenly, a brown ball that was 6 feet wide and 6 feet tall shot out of the cobra's mouth at the village walls. It started to dissolve as it struck Suna's stone walls. As it passed over them, destroying everything from stone and rock to cloths, paper, and metal, Suna nins screamed or attempted to use jutsu on the approaching wall, but nothing worked, and everyone it was able to absorb emerged completely unharmed and nude. No matter what the Kazekage did, a hand made of the tide reached up and grabbed him, pulling him into the tide below. The cage had started to order his men to attack the approaching tide of destruction, but he leapt into the air to go over the tide. His clothes and weapons continue to be destroyed quickly, even after he uses replacements. After the tide passed him by, the cage could only watch in dismay and shock as it grew larger the more it ate, and in 15 minutes, everything except the Suna people was gone from the entire village. All they could do was watch the tide as it started to eat away at the surrounding desert, and then watch the Cobra airship hovering over the once great village. From the airship came a voice that said, "Listen, the name Cobra Commander is mine. As you can see, your lives are now in my hands after I recently destroyed your village. Since you are from the desert, you should be well aware of what awaits you today when the sun rises without any food, water, shelter, or protective gear. You probably want to know why I did this, and the answer is straightforward. Even those of you who have received ninja training have a 10% chance of making it to another village without dying. Ninja villages that were hidden are a thing of the past. My men are attacking Iwa, Kuma, and Mizu. As I write this, they have a chance to survive because their environment isn't as hostile as yours, but their villages will suffer the same fate as yours." When the people of Suna heard this, they were shocked and became aware of their predicament. The cage yelled, "How dare you do this to us? I dare because I offer you a choice," the CC voice could be heard saying. "Just as I have the power to destroy, I also have the power to create," as another ball of white liquid sprang out of the cobra's mouth and struck the sand a short distance from the Suna people. "Your people have been suffering for years from the environment, from other villages that stole your business, and from your own feudal lord who has been denying you the money you sorely need and passing laws that have made your lives even more difficult and agonizing." The ground started to ripple with the liquid as the sand turned to stone and started to rise out of the ocean of sand. Initially, a massive fortress in the shape of a cobra emerged from the ground, followed by other buildings that rose 5 stories high, trees, and lakes. As more and more things started to emerge, the Suna people grew increasingly amazed and in awe. Gained walls started to rise around the now mile-wide city after almost 15 minutes. As you can see, Venom, the new capital of Cobra Country, is a beautiful city, isn't it? CC said as it came to an end. "The Wind Lord signed the country over to me, and my men have already killed him. As a result, I am now in charge of these territories, and Wind Country will no longer exist. What am I supposed to do with you now? I could give you the opportunity to start over in Venom, but why should I do that? I could leave you out here to die in the desert, like the pieces of dirt that everyone else always thought you were. I mean, I just took away everything from you except your lives. The answer is straightforward. How can I be certain that you will serve me or not betray me? There will be a basic test for you to pass. Simply place both of your hands in the mouths of the statues of cobras outside the gate. You will get a tattoo if you try to betray Cobra or me. This tattoo is a seal that will simply kill you. You can also protect yourself with this tattoo. Anyone who enters the village without a visitor's pass or this seal will be killed by automatic security systems, akin to the Ichibi's Jinchuriki, within 10 feet of the village walls, making it impossible for anyone to spy on it. Additionally, this seal will prevent you from discussing any village secrets with anyone who does not have a seal on them. No one will be able to become a missing ninja because they will perish if they attempt to betray Venom. I realize this sounds like I'm treating you like slaves, but consider this. Your own people have been spying on you for years to make sure you're loyal, and anyone who disagrees with your leaders has been swiftly silenced. With just one small modification, this is essentially the same thing. Since words cannot harm or kill, I don't give a damn about your private life and allow you to talk about things you don't like without fear. Actually, I wish that discussions or words could resolve every issue only if you act violently against the village. Will the seal kill you? Isn't that preferable to worrying about offending someone and getting killed because you disagree with their words or viewpoints? That sounds fantastic, doesn't it? After a few moments of silence, CC said, "All of this is nothing compared to the other things that will help change the world." The people of Suna listened and considered what they had heard. What if you could always view a record of everything you have in stock at your store? That you would never have to leave your house to order all the supplies you need. That thieves, bandits, shoplifters, or employees will never be a concern for you. There is life in this village at any given time. It is able to determine the location of every individual in the village. Instead of spending the entire day looking for someone, you can go to any of the village's information booths, say the name of the person you're looking for, and the computer there will tell you their precise location. You can simply instruct a computer in your shop to reorder or discontinue the item, and the village will order it for you. This eliminates the need for you to worry about ordering it, protecting it, or even leaving the village where you might be attacked or have to deal with the environment outside of the village. The village itself will keep track of your inventory at your shops, so when you start running low, you will be notified. Suppliers and other headaches won't be a concern for you. The money will be automatically transferred from the person's account to yours if they attempt to steal from your store. All of this is merely an example of the advantages of being a Venom citizen, so the question is this. Will you become an example of what I intend to make the world into, or will you perish here in the heat and show the world that they were correct and that you were nothing more than dirt? You have a choice. Put your hands in the snake's mouth if you wish to enter the village. If not, enjoy yourself since you won't be able to enter the village. For today only, you will be ejected if you attempt to enter without authorization. You will be killed after today. If you're curious, all of your destroyed belongings weren't actually destroyed. Along with your clothing and weapons, they were sealed and taken inside the village. You will discover that Venom is far superior to Suna and Kazekage if you stop by an information desk and inquire about your new residence or place of business. Here, you are not the leader here, you are powerless. Another ninja, that's all Gara, your son, whom you turned into a weapon. He's not with you or the others. If you notice, the reason is that the Ichibi is being taken away from him as we speak, but he is still alive and has consented to join Cobra because we treat him like a human rather than a demon. Did the people of Suna know that you intentionally had his seal broken to make him unstable so that you could kill those you wanted to get rid of against him? You are not and will not be permitted here. Your children are innocent and can begin a new life here as a family. Konkuro and Tamari, you have the option to follow the man who abducted your mother and uncle who tried his hardest to harm your little brother. He turned his back on you both for years, so I say you should do the same. It's up to you. Enjoy your wonderful day. As the airship entered the new city, it appeared to be going to be a hot one. As a line formed to enter the village, CC thought, damn, that was quicker than I thought it would be. The window of the Sandaime Hokage of Konoha's office opened, and Jiraiya entered with a focused expression on his face. Hello, Jiraiya, Hiruzen said. What do I owe for your visit's pleasure? Call a council meeting, sensei. Jiraiya said. I need to share some unsettling news with as many of our people as I can. What is this about, Jiraiya? Scowled Hiruzen. What news? Jiraiya went on to say, Iwa, Kumo, Mizu, and Suna have all been destroyed by Cobra. With wide eyes, Hiruzen exclaimed, what? How is that possible, Jiraiya? It's possible, sensei, Jiraiya said. I need to go back out there and get more information, so it would be ideal if I didn't have to say it again later. Kindly schedule a meeting as soon as you can. Hiruzen said, Anbu, please inform all council members, Anbu captains, and Junin that there will be a council meeting in an hour and that everyone must be present and on time. Proceed. Can you tell me anything, Jiraiya? Hiruzen asked as the Anbu hurried off. As he looked out the window sorrowfully, Jiraiya scowled and remarked, the Yondaime Kazekage was found near death 2 weeks ago by one of my spies. I think I should wait to tell any more until the meeting because it's too painful for me to say. Should I put the village on alert, Jiraiya? Asked Hiruzen. Jiraiya replied, I am not sure. I think you should wait to hear about what I have learned to best decide what to do. Come, it should be almost time to begin by the time we reach the council chambers, Hiruzen said, nodding and looking at the clock. After Jiraiya nods, they both depart from the office. Thank you all for coming so quickly, Hiruzen said, as he sat in his chair in the nearly full council chambers with several ninjas standing against the wall. Jiraiya has recently returned to our village with information of vital importance. Everyone is to remain quiet until he finishes giving his report because time is of the essence. Jiraiya, proceed. Jiraiya looks at him and says, Thank you, sensei. Nearly 2 months ago, Wave Country was under a blockade by Gado Shipping Corporation. Gado was using mercenaries to take control of the island and was prepared to kill the national hero of Wave Country by public execution when Cobra Commander appeared and captured Gado and taking over Gado Shipping Company. Who is this Cobra Commander? Asked Hiyashi. Jiraiya looked at Hiruzen and responded, We do not have much information on this Cobra Commander. All I can safely say is he is part of the group that Anko Mitarashi, Kurenai Yuihi, Naruto Uzumaki, Hinata Hyuga, and Sasuke Uchiha are a part of. He was part of the group who helped them escape after Kurenai murdered Sume Inuzuka. When Hiruzen heard murmurs, he said, Quite. Proceed, Jiraiya. Jiraiya stated, As I mentioned, Cobra Commander took control of Gado Shipping with the backing of the feudal lord of Wave Country. CC made a public announcement to the people of Wave that he plans to take over the world and eliminate the hidden villages. He claimed he has already been doing this by using his Cobra Commandos to take out the bandits over the past few years, which is why the number of protection missions against bandits has been declining. He also claimed that he was going to use Gado shipping to cut off supplies to ninja villages who were not allied to Cobra and was going to stop giving ninja villages the discounts we received so that with the loss of missions as well as the loss of discounts our economies would begin to shrink, making it where we would have to be more careful spending. Several spies from different countries were in Wave Country and heard this. Inoichi replied, "An interesting plan that could work had we not been informed so early. We can easily plan ahead to compensate for this problem." Jiraiya nodded his head and said, "If only it was that easy." A little over 2 weeks ago Cobra struck again. 4 attacks happened all at the exact same time. Iwa, Kumo, Mizu, and Suna have all been destroyed by Cobra. Ebisu replied, "What? How is that possible?" Jiraiya-sama, surely the amount of damage done is being over-exaggerated. Jiraiya said, "Sadly it's not. Cobra used huge airships shaped like cobras to launch a weapon that the villages are calling the Tide. It's an orb that when used on Iwa and Kumo destroyed everything made out of stone. Then after that they launched another one of these orbs that destroyed everything in the village made of metal. No jutsu that anyone in the villages used could even touch the airships at the altitude they were at. Like a tide, these orbs, when they exploded out from the center of impact, and the more they expanded the larger they got, like a tidal wave. These tides also somehow acted like they were being controlled, similar to how reports of the Jinchuriki of the Ichibi could do to sand. Any ninja that jumped away was grabbed by the tide and pulled back, and it left nothing untouched, but no one lost their lives. Everything in their villages was destroyed except the humans that lived in them. In Mizu, the bloodline faction in the civil war that was going on there allied with Cobra from what I am told, and Cobra destroyed the Hidden Mist village, making it where it was defenseless against the bloodline faction, who quickly moved in and took over." Kakashi inquired, "What about Suna?" Jiraiya sighed and said, "Suna is no more." Cobra Commander himself led the attack on Suna. He destroyed their walls, buildings, cloths, and weapons. I don't know what happened after that. The only reason I know this is because the Yondaime cage was found by one of my spies near death, who informed my spy before going into a coma. I had hoped to get more info out of him by tracking down Tsunade to get her to heal him. Unfortunately Tsunade is no longer an ally of Konoha. She has joined Cobra as well. Hiruzen replied, "What do you mean, Jiraiya? What could make Tsunade turn against Konoha and join Cobra?" Jiraiya stated, "Tsunade joined Cobra because Cobra showed her proof that Orochimaru got his sample of the Mokuton bloodline that he used on his victims to recreate the bloodline from the body of her little brother Nawaki. They also showed proof that you knew this after you went through Orochimaru records when Orochimaru escaped." Shikaku replied, "How do you know what proof Cobra used to get Tsunade to join them?" Jiraiya replied, "Because I was there. I tried to argue saying that it was lies, but he had too much proof. I even attempted to fight him, but I was a fool for underestimating him." "Who?" asked Hiruzen. Jiraiya continued, "Cobra Commander. He had some kind of liquid metal armor around him. It was the same type of weapon that was used against the other villages. I went to punch him. When I did, the weapon hit me and instantly entered my body. I don't know how he does it, but what I do know is that it knocked me out, and when I awoke I was completely defenseless and had to follow the orders of Cobra Commander. No matter what I did, I was completely defenseless. He had me enter a room where both Kurenai and Naruto was, while unbuttoning his shirt. Everyone in the room could see the cuts on every part of his body as he removed his shirt and pants." Jiraiya replied, "They used some kind of pain amplification genjutsu on me, and for a week they took turns doing this to me for revenge for abandoning them and their mother." Asuma replied, "Their mother? What do you mean, Jiraiya?" Several people in the room gasped and yelled in denial when Jiraiya said, "Kushina Uzumaki, wife of the Yondaime Hokage of Konoha. She was the mother of Kurenai Uehi and Naruto Uzumaki." Jiraiya let go of his ki and stated, "It's true, and I abandoned them, and Danzo and members of the council sent assassin to kill Kushina and Kurenai after Kurenai survived. Sensei had her memories changed to make her forget the truth about her mother and brother." "You know I classified that info, Jiraiya. Why did you tell it?" scowled Hiruzen. Jiraiya said, "Because I have no choice in the matter, Sensei. I have less than an hour left before I will die. Whatever it is that allowed Cobra to control me is going to kill me soon. It is under their orders that I came here to deliver a message. The message is this: you have been warned. When the Chunin exams arrive in Konoha again, Cobra shall send the team of Naruto Uzumaki, Sasuke Uchiha and Hinata Uchiha to Konoha for the exams. Send your best against them in the test, in official test. If they are legitimately defeated, Konoha will be spared. If they win the Chunin exams, then Konoha will be destroyed the very same day in front of all the VIP. Each feudal lord and hidden village has been notified, so they too will send their best for that exam. The feudal lords will also send witness to oversee the exams to make sure Konoha does not try any kind of tricks. If they do, the village will become an enemy to every nation of the world and Cobra will launch an attack on the village, and unlike what happened in the other villages, there will be bloodshed. Any attempt to attack or stop Cobra by Konoha will result in the death of 10% of your village population. Goodbye, Konoha-sensei. As his body began to convulse before turning black as it caved in on itself, as Jiraiya screamed in pain before he died, and when it was over there was nothing left of the man who was Jiraiya of the Sannin. As cries of indignation and demands for retribution filled the room, Hiruzen turned to face Jiraiya, shed a tear, and considered. Goodbye, my student. He then said, Silence. As everyone froze, Hiruzen stated, we can't attack Cobra right now. We don't have enough information on them, and the fact that they have destroyed 4 of the 5 great hidden villages should show you all that we have no chance against them at this time. For now we will prepare those who will be genin when the Chunin exams comes around, while we try to gather information on Cobra as well as information on Orochimaru. If Tsunade has joined Cobra, then she will want revenge against her former teammates Orochimaru, and so they will be looking for him also. This will give us a chance to gather info on him and Cobra. Ebisu replied, what if Orochimaru is a member of Cobra? Hiruzen took a moment to think and said, no, he's not. Anko and Tsunade would want him dead, so they would not join him. I'll send volunteers to Wave, Suna, Mizu, Iwa, and Kumo and see if we can find out information on Cobra or Their weapon there. Until then, everything that has happened here today will be classified dismissed. As the crowd started to disperse, Hiruzen turned to face Jiraiya on the ground and thought, I swear to you, Jiraiya, you will be avenged. 2.5 years have passed since Cobra's power was first revealed to the world. The world's dynamics had changed significantly during that period following the delivery of the message in Wave and the subsequent demonstration of Cobra's power over the hidden villages. The feudal lords became terrified of Cobra. Consequently, there was minimal opposition when the Baroness arrived at their doorstep, particularly considering the airship looming over them and the 200 Cobra commandos she was carrying when they came around to talk about the future of their nation and the world after the exams were over. The Baroness was able to persuade them all to attend the Chunin exams in Konoha. She also warned them that anyone who failed to appear for the test would be pursued and mercilessly killed. All of the spies sent to check on Suna could only discover that a new city called Venom had been constructed in the desert, but none of them ever came back, and now Venom accounted for 70% of all elemental nations' trade. With its headquarters located in Venom, a new banking system emerged. As word spread about how it safeguarded people's investments, the banking system changed, and the era of paperless money arrived when individuals were issued Cobra debit cards, which were only to be used by the original owner. Whoever they designated as their beneficiary when they opened the accounts received the money in the accounts in the event of their death. As a result, the elemental nation's currency was rising to the 3rd position in the land's currency hierarchy, with gold coming in first and Cobra money in second. Additionally, Cobra Security Force showed up. All merchants traveling to and from Venom were protected by it. While Suna Nins and a few smaller villages that sided with Venom became the main forces of the land-based Cobra security, the Hidden Mist village welcomed members of the Cobra Security Force and were utilized in all sea-based shipping. All Cobra security officers received specialized armor that was akin to that of the Cobra Commandos, with a few minor exceptions. For example, it featured fail-safes that would cause it to destroy itself if someone attempted to make it or steal its secrets. Because anyone who tried to attack the Cobra Security Force was killed, and because the Cobra Security Force actively hunted down missing ninja, the number of bandits and criminals also decreased as a result of the decline of paper money, the amount of gold in circulation, the decline of those who held onto it, the arrival of the Cobra Security Force, and the change in global trade. The hidden villages suffered as well because fewer bounties for missing ninja were cashed in, which negatively impacted their financial stability. This was particularly true when the bounties were demanded to be paid in gold, and when the villages ran out of gold, they had to use silver, iron, and steel as alternative forms of payment. As a result, fewer resources were available for the production of building materials and weapons. All of this caused the paper money, which had evolved into the 3rd form of payment, to lose value as well. For example, an item that used to cost $2 before Cobra appeared now costs $6. But Cobra was more than just a strong person. Cobra also introduced new advancements in healthcare, including the production of new medical supplies and higher-level physicians and nurses. It became evident that Cobra was now the global military and financial leader by the time the Chunin exams arrived in Konoha. As Hinata and Sasuke bid farewell to their 18-month-old son Itachi, Naruto stood next to Kurenai, Anko, and Tsunade in Venom. Thank you for agreeing to take care of him for us, Shizune. You don't know how much this means to us, Hinata said as they were wrapping up, giving Itachi a somber kiss before giving him to Shizune. Shizune responded, I am happy to do this, but this is only temporary. You have to come home from this mission for him, both of you. Sasuke replied, nothing will stop us from returning home to our child. Shizune replied, then I guess you had better get going and be sure to make Konoha pay for what they did. According to Naruto, oh, they will, trust me they will. Shizune nodded and continued, and you had better be careful as well, Naruto, you're the one who has changed the world and the one who gave us all new lives, you're the one who made all this possible, and you have your wives to return to as well. As he kissed her, Naruto grinned and said, I know, see you later Shizune-chan, goodbye. He then turned to face Tsunade, who was beaming with laughter, and he asked, what? Tsunade replied, I'm still betting on which one of your 3 wives you have a kid with first. Kurenai, Anko, and Shizune all looked at one another before giggling when they said, don't bet on me then. Naruto remarked, relax, Granny, everything will work out, let's go, as Tsunade pouted. Shizune caught Tsunade's eye as she said, I'll bring him back to you as well as your sisters. Thank you, Tsunade-sama, and please make sure they pay for what they have done, Shizune said with a smile. Tsunade turned and walked away, grinning and saying, count on it. Before leaving the apartment, Shizune picked up a diaper bag and a stroller and said, well, let's take you to the park, it's too nice of a day not to enjoy it. She smiled as she looked at the baby in her arms. With Sasuke and Hinata on his right and Anko and Kurenai on his left, Naruto sat down on the bridge of his airship and turned to face the other people. According to Naruto, launch when ready, Hi Commander. A Cobra Commando uttered as the airship lifted off the ground and started to leave the Cobra-shaped building. 4 hours later, Naruto said, hover over the Hokage monument, as the Konoha gates came into view. The residents of Konoha fled in terror as the airship positioned itself over the Hokage monument, either preparing to defend their homes with weapons or hiding inside. When the Sandaime Hokage saw the airship above the Hokage monument outside his window, he exclaimed, so they have come. A loud voice reverberated throughout the village, Sandaime Hokage of Konoha, please stand on your Hokage tower. A number of Konoha elites were standing silently behind him, awaiting orders. I would like to see you again and introduce the team that Cobra will be taking the exam with. If you would like to meet our team, you are welcome to join the other teams that are present. The exam regulations are in place, and I am aware that a number of feudal lords have already shown up to ensure that no favoritism will be granted. They're welcome, too, don't hurry. We will be there in precisely 15 minutes. You already have your futures in sight. The room fell silent, and the Sandaime scowled and remarked, it seems like we are at a loss right now. Go, you have your orders. Shortly after, the room was deserted, and the Sandaime approached, retrieved his pipe and hat, filled it with tobacco, and lit it. 15 minutes later, the Sandaime was on the tower with the following teams. Team 7, Sakura Haruno, Kiba Inuzuka, and Shino Aburame and their sensei Hitaki Kakashi. Team 8, Shikamaru Nara, Shoji Akamichi, and Ino Yamanaka and their sensei Asuma Sarutobi. Team 9, Neji Hyuga, Tenten, and Rock Lee under Guy, and Team 10, Hanabi Hyuga, Kabuto, and Sai under Ibiki, Inochi, Shuza, Shikaku, Shibi, and Hiyashi were also on the tower. A sound team consisting of Kin, Dosu, and Zaku along with their Junin sensei was standing across from them. Baki, a man with a tsunahiyat covering half of his face, was standing to the left of them, accompanied by his 3 students, Tamari, Konkuro, and Gara. Before a figure in a white robe with black flames running across the bottom of it appeared on the roof, the first warning anyone had was a yellow flash. The figure looked at everyone in his eyes, then rose from his half-crouch and said, my name is Naruto Uzumaki. How is a Suna team here when Suna no longer exist? There were 3 whiskers on either side of his face, but otherwise, he looked like the Yondaime Hokage, and everyone was very surprised. As long as at least one of our people are alive, Suna will continue to exist, Baki stated. Tamari, Konkuro, and Gara are my students. They're the offspring of Suna's Yondaime Kazekage. My name is Baki. Everyone turned to look at the Sound Junin as Naruto said, I see. He looked around before stopping when he saw the Sound Junin and saying, you are an idiot. Konoha can't touch you as long as you follow the rules of the Chunin exams. Orochimaru. Before reaching up and removing his face to reveal Orochimaru's pale face, the Junin let out a sickening laugh. I am aware of the rules of these exams, he said. I'm primarily here to witness the final Uchiha in action and to personally witness Konoha's demise, but tell me, how did you know it was me? Do you really think you're just a summoner for Manda? Asked Naruto after Anko summoned as many snakes as she could. Cobra put them under his control, made them wait for the ideal time, and gradually subdued the remaining snakes. Before my sister and I tortured him for what he did to our family, your former teammate Jiraiya made a seal on me that would alert me when you were nearby as soon as I was within 5 miles of Konoha. The seal reacted. I only needed to look to see who was responding to the seal and use the radio in my ear to identify them. The Sandaime stated, you will have to remove the radio from your ear before you can enter these exams. Can't, Naruto said with a sly smile as he turned to face the Sandaime. The entire exam and this meeting are being televised globally on the Cobra Cable network. I bet that just messed up your plan for the 22 teams of Anbu you had stationed in the Forest of Death who had orders to take us to the old underground base you have there, he said, glancing at the Sandaime. All 3 of us have the camera and radio so the people of the world will see the exams through us. I don't know what you are talking about, the Sandaime remarked. As he gazed at the Hokage monument, which to everyone's surprise started to dissolve, Naruto grinned and remarked, you know the funny thing is you spent all those years trying to find Cobra and its headquarters when it's been right in front of you the whole time. Their eyes widened when they saw a steel fortress with a huge red cobra painted on it. While everyone gaped or looked shocked, Ibiki said, impossible. Naruto replied, nope, it's been there since before Konoha was ever founded. Now I think we have too many people here. Mindbender, Tomax and Zaymot, be a dear and take your boyfriends to the airship. Before Sakura and Ino vanished in a whirlpool of leaves with Sai and Kabuto, they shocked everyone by saying, yes Cobra Commander. What the hell is going on? Kiba exclaimed. Where did they go? He stared around in disbelief, wondering what they meant by, Cobra Commander. Naruto grinned at everyone present before Sand swiftly bound their arms and legs together. Meanwhile, a purple barrier was built around the tower by Gaara, who had everyone trapped except Naruto, and Zaku, Dosu, Kin, Tamari, Baki, and Kankuro, who had a small double barrier built around them. Before Anko, Kurenai, Tsunade, Hinata, and Sasuke showed up, Naruto took out a scroll and sent chakra to it, grinning even more. Arashi, please destroy this damn thing. Naruto pulled out another scroll as he removed the white cloak and threw it into the air, noticing that everyone was wide-eyed and appeared shocked and afraid. Everyone watched as Naruto put on his mask and uttered, now. I am sure you are all in a state of shock about what has happened and what is going on. The truth is, I never gave a damn about this village or these exams. Sasuke quickly formed a few hand seals before spitting a fireball at it, destroying the cloak. To give people plenty of time to leave if they didn't want to die in this village, I simply delivered that message to everyone. Those who remained were either too arrogant or too obstinate in their belief that Konoha would prevail. You certainly didn't do that for a village that came up with the phrase, look beneath the surface. You might have realized what was truly happening much sooner if you had. As he struggled in the sand coffin, Kakashi uttered the words, why can't we use any jutsu to escape this? Because I made Jiraiya draw up every seal he knew and write down everything about it before I had him deliver that message here, CC stated. I then gave us the summoning contract for Toads and asked him to list all the jutsu he was familiar with unless you have the counter seal, which those who are loyal to me possess. It is impossible to use chakra inside this area due to the seals used by those who are maintaining the barrier. The Sandaime replied, your father would be so disappointed in you Naruto and you as well Kurenai. After exchanging glances, CC and the Baroness started laughing. Like we give a flying fuck about that bastard, CC said. My mother was raped by that bastard. In my opinion, what other explanation is there for why the individuals who worked for him killed her, assaulted her kids, and even went so far as to alter and obliterate their memories? If not, why do you suppose I used Arashi's signature jutsu to arrive and asked him to destroy the cloak that caused you all to freeze? I knew that would freeze you all, both because of the memory of who used it and because of the danger it posed. Inoichi replied, why are you doing this? Why did my daughter follow your orders? Easy, CC said. You recall how Sakura began to learn about flowers as medicines and how Ino began to improve while still a young child. Both of the girls were already faithful to me back then. Instead of treating her like your daughter, you and everyone else were forcing them to act like whores in order to boost your clan's reputation, so I was the one who gave them a reason to begin training. Instead of being loved for what she is or as an object, she wanted to be loved as a person. I was able to persuade her to accompany me because of this, and Sakura did the same. Regarding Kabuto and Sai was a member of Root, so I had him when I took over the entire organization because he was a spy for both Orochimaru and aka Suna no Sasori. Kabuto was basically everyone's bitch. Don't worry about Akatsuki Orochimaru. I had my sealing team practice at Akatsuki's headquarters, the Hidden Rain Village. Before we arrived here today we told everyone what we intended to do here after we had sealed them inside. CC said, "Hello Hyuga, I should say your grandson is a very healthy and happy child." Inoichi flinched at this, looked down, and Orochimaru looked angry in honor of his uncle, who was sacrificed for this village. He goes by Itachi Uchiha. Both Hiashi and Hanabi's eyes widened as they turned to face Hinata, who was now in Sasuke's arms and had a happy expression on her face. Frowning, Hiashi remarked, "I bet he's a disgraceful weakling just like his mother." As Hinata grinned, she remarked, "You were right, Neji, he is a very conceited man." "I know Hinata-sama," Neji said. "Should I give the all clear?" "What is the meaning of this, Neji?" Hiashi asked, his eyes widening. "A caged bird will stop at nothing to be free," Hinata remarked when Konoha sent his team to Wind Country to try and use his eyes to spy on Venom. "That's when I met him. Before I met him and his father, a very special guest, I waited until they returned to the Fire Country and secured a hotel room for the night." Hiashi questioned, "How is that possible?" As almost everyone's eyes widened. "My brothers are deceased. It's really because of Cobra Commander," Hinata stated. "He had Kabuto take Orochimaru's Impure World Resurrection Jutsu. In order to animate a corpse with all the skills, including bloodlines and appearances, of the person who casts the jutsu, he also has Kabuto steal a jutsu from Akatsuki. Then CC started attempting to cross both jutsu in an attempt to revive his mother. Although he hasn't figured out how to do it completely yet, he has figured out how to revive a dead body for a few days until the organs inside the body are too decomposed to continue functioning and keeping the person alive. Tsunade-sama is attempting to prolong the person's life by combining her Genesis Rebirth Jutsu with what he has created. However, it was sufficient to give Neji some time with his father. As a result, Neji and his fiancé Copyright Tenten agreed to work as my spies in the Hyuga clan. Hanabi declared, "When I get free, I'll use the cage bird seal on you, traitor," as the sand surrounding Neji and Tenten broke loose. Cobra Commander was able to destroy the cage bird seal on me and make it impossible to put on ever again, Neji said with a sly smile as he removed his hat, revealing his skin. "We have been waiting for the signal before we move, and he also granted me the ability to free the other members of the branch house. By your command," he said, bowing and lowering himself to one knee. "Of course, Neji, you can go tell your family it's time and then get on the airship," the Cobra Commander said. "I hope that everyone's possessions are secured." Neji replied, "Yes, along with the entire Hyuga clan fortune, jewels, and relics." According to Cobra Commander, "Then go." Lee remarked, "How dare you destroy the flames of youth you," as Neji and Tenten departed in a flurry of leaves. Anko silenced him by putting a senbon in his neck, which rendered him unconscious. Guy was also rendered unconscious before he could speak by a senbon needle. Hinata replied, "Now father, I could ask to fight you to the death for all the world to see, but I think Cobra Commander's punishment for Konoha will be more than enough revenge. And that is why we are here today," CC stated as he gazed at Orochimaru dissolving from a nanite kunai until only a pool of blood remained. CC turned to Anko and remarked, "Couldn't wait. Anko is here to get revenge on Orochim." "Never mind. He's dead," Anko declared. "I only need his death, not his anguish and suffering." "Nia feels the same way. I just want to get here quickly, head home, and fuck you until I'm unconscious." "Ladies, have patience," CC said, shaking his head. "For those who are too dim-witted to realize the truth by now, I have come here today to make a statement that will be heard globally. According to Sarutobi, and that is," CC replied, "What gives you the right to be called the Hokage?" With a blink, Sarutobi uttered, "What? You have the right to call yourself Hokage because you are the village's leader, but the only authority your title confers is the authority bestowed upon you by your supporters and subordinates," CC stated. "You only have power because of the strength that those beneath you have given you, just as the main house of the Hyuga clan has power because of the seal that they made the branch houses wear to guarantee that they maintain their power. That's how the whole world is run, with the backing of the populace. You become stronger and have the ability to rule the world as emperor, which is exactly what I am right now. According to Ibiki, you think too highly of yourself." "Do I?" CC said. "Since we have given them a better life where criminals are swiftly brought to justice, where they can obtain the necessities for daily living at affordable prices, and where their health is improved due to advancements in medical treatment, I, as the leader of Cobra, have gained the allegiance of people worldwide. The feudal lords understand that since we control the financial and military spheres, they must back Cobra if they wish to have any authority. You recall how Kumo, Iwa, Mizu, and Suna were attacked. Only I was aware of the side effects that those struck by my nanite bombs that day experienced. The consequence was that they were unable to use as much chakra at once in chakra, They can only employ AC rank jutsu. This implies that they can no longer use any of their more damaging jutsu as time passes. Those who are not loyal to me go from being Junin to Anbu to Chunin to barely being Haigenin, but those who are loyal to me can still use their higher level of chakra. Kakashi responded, so that means that your army could come in and take them out quickly at any time. Exactly, but the funny thing is that Konoha doesn't even understand that, CC remarked. I take away from you today the very thing that made you proud. I could take your life, but I only murder people who must perish to keep the world at peace. By taking away your ability to use chakra, I take away the Hidden Leaf Village's ability to be a ninja village today. Sarutobi, I exact my revenge on you by rendering you helpless to protect your village. You've lost your so-called power since the Jiyuken can no longer be used. The main house of the Hyuga, who have taken great pride in boasting about their bloodline and taijutsu, will now only be able to perform a simple slap. Everything you have boasted about and taken for granted is gone as of right now, and all of the jutsu you copied with your Sharingan Kakashi are worthless. At that moment, a massive bubble burst from the airship, struck the side of the Hokage tower, and swiftly spread out, engulfing the village. CC threw a bottle at everyone on the tower who wasn't loyal to him, and as it struck them in the head, nanites covered them as they all attempted to escape. Kiba cried out, damn you and that bitch, as soon as the nanites were gone. If I can't use chakra, I don't care, I'll murder you. CC snapped his finger and said, no you won't. 4 Cobra Commandos then showed up, accompanied by Yoshina Nara and Hana Inuzuka, both of whom were dressed in prison attire. In shock, Kiba uttered, Hana, Shikaku, Yoshina, and Shikamaru, Mom. I bet you're all shocked to see these two, CC said. As he approached Kakashi, who appeared terrified, CC started to flash hand signs and said, you have spent your life dreaming about women and their bodies. I have had them held prisoner in the fortress in the monument ever since you kicked your wife out of your house in a fit of rage and after Hana was arrested by the Sandame. Now where would the fun be without the full set? As he put his hands on Kakashi's head, he screamed in agony before freezing in place. Today you become one. CC then flashed through hand signs and said, I'm pure world resurrection. Kakashi's body sank into the ground, and a coffin emerged from it. Sume Inuzuka was standing there when the coffin door opened, looking around and exclaiming, what's happening? Along with the Hana, Shikamaru, Kiba, and Yoshino, sand wrapped around her body, freezing her in place and covering her mouth after CC walked up behind her and put a sealing tag on her neck. CC nods to the commandos, who start dragging Hana and Yoshino over. Kiba and Shikamaru are then picked up by the sand, and Hana is soon handcuffed on Kiba's left hand, Sume is handcuffed on Kiba's right, Shikamaru is handcuffed on his left, and Yoshino is handcuffed on Shikamaru's left. After Kurenai and Anko arrived, the two women put sealing tags on Shikamaru, Kiba, Hana, and Yoshina. Tsunade then arrived and injected Shikamaru and Kiba in the arm. Naruto said, I want you to know that I have done all of this because of you 3 women, as CC reached up and removed his helmet so that everyone could see him. You raped me that day, which is why I made the decision to wipe out the ninja world. I had originally intended to have you repeatedly raped for the rest of your life while being kept alive by medics because I wanted to exact revenge on you. Fortunately for the 3 of you, my beloved sister chose that day to murder Sume. Additionally, Kurenai asked me to end our one-time friendship for Hana, so I chose a different course of action. Those sealing tags on your neck are keeping Sume alive, Naruto said, putting a gentle hand on each of the 3 women's cheeks as he approached. She will live as long as you do. No one can take them away. If you die, she dies. Even me, Tsunade, and I made the unique drug that Shikamaru and Kiba received. Unfortunately, it causes another problem for someone who does not have impotence. The shot is intended to help men who are impotent have a chance at having children. This medication is meant to last your whole life. Shikamaru and Kiba, you will need to take it once every 6 hours. Your balls will actually blow up and kill you if you don't. Naruto said, but that's not the end of it. As everyone's eyes widened, these handkerchiefs are unique. It is impossible to cut through them because they cannot be destroyed and any damage is repaired in a matter of seconds. In order to save your life, you will have to come in front of your mother, sister, and the other guy here. Any attempt to remove them will also electrocute you and the person connected to you. But it doesn't end there. You see, these cuffs also act like a magnet with matching sides. Naruto grinned. You can't jerk yourself off because they won't allow them to get too close. To make things worse, I added a special fertility drug to the cuffs that will increase your chances of getting pregnant because you can't jerk them off all the time without rubbing them raw. You can jerk each other off, but not each other, or you'll have to have these women who have ruined your lives so far help you. Ladies, you'll have to help them come in order to save your brother or son's life. Of course, You can both go get your balls chopped off and get fixed, and then claim that the women in your lives destroyed your opportunity to start a family in either case. I don't care. I believe that the pain these 3 women will endure for the rest of their lives as a result of witnessing your suffering is sufficient justice. Well, the world sees you now groveling on your knees, Naruto said, glancing at everyone who was still inside the building. Your economy will collapse and your village will be destroyed as a result of losing its main business as a ninja village. All of this could have been prevented if you had controlled your hormones and treated people the way you wanted to be treated. CYA, as he and everyone else, with the exception of those from Konoha, vanished in a whirl of leaves. Set course for Venom and send the signal to begin Operation Clean Sweep, Naruto said as he sat in his command chair on the airship's bridge, gazing out over the village. The airship turned and began to move toward the land of wind after hearing several highs. Let's go to my cabin, Naruto said, reaching up and taking Kurenai and Anko's hands. It's probably time for me to give you both what you desire. Tsunade questioned, what about Shizune? To be fair to everyone, Naruto stated, she will receive hers, and I will use a birth control jutsu until we return to Konoha. He got up and started to leave, Kurenai to his left and Anko to his right, saying, now sit here in my chair and watch the final act. After sitting down, Tsunade noticed that the forest was being destroyed as the airship approached Konoha. She thought, yes, the people who live there destroyed the forest and the village my grandfather created. I won't let them have what he made. When screams were heard, the Sandaime Hokage was sitting in his office, the door locked, both hands covering his eyes. The Sandaime scowled before the floor shifted and he heard a noise. When the Sandaime was able to see, all he saw was stone because all the wood had been destroyed and the Hokage monument had exploded. The stone and metal formed a 30-foot statue of Naruto with a smirk on his face and the Cobra Commander's helmet beneath his arm. Before drawing a kunai and stabbing himself in the heart, the Sandaime shed a tear, and his final words were, I'm sorry. Sometimes to create order you have to create chaos. If you want to see true chaos, release a cobra, Naruto reflected while holding Anko and Kurenai.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.